atop a throne of skulls.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Season 2 of the Eternal Challenger League. We're back. It's going to be 8 weeks of competition, and for anyone who isn't familiar with this format, let's go ahead and, before we get started here, talk about the format a little bit. So there's going to be 8 weeks in total. It might not be every single Saturday, but for the most part, I'm going to try and do it every single Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're going to have 4 players. So it's going to be very similar to the Flash Tournament format in terms of the actual competition. There's going to be 4 players competing, and the winner is going to be qualifying for the grand finals, which will be the 9th week, but it might be a little bit later depending on my schedule and other things I have going on. But it is a qualifier series. It's going to be quite a bit of fun. And on that note, let us go ahead and take a look at the tablet. So yes, each individual who does win one of these qualifiers is going to be put onto Hedwin's tablet, his Moses tablet, and it's going to be great. So very similar to the last season, each one is going to have a theme based on whatever, the new DLC is or the new content. So we're going to be trying to do these more often. As soon as we finish this Eternal Challenger League, I'd like to get one started relatively soon after that. It seems like you guys really do enjoy this content quite a bit. So we're going to be trying to do that. And for today's competition, the tale of the tape. Glad you guys like the mustache. Yes, it is. And we're going to have Hadri's facing off against Xiphos in Game 1. In Game 2, it's going to be Shetland Apache facing off against King of the Dead. And the 2 winners of those respective brackets will ride through those Warpstone Vials right there all the way to the finals, which is going to be great. Yes, and we're back. It's going to be fun. Let's do it to it. And it looks like we're going to be jumping right into Game 1, which is going to feature Hadri's playing as the Greenskins, facing off against Xiphos, who's going to be playing the forces of the Empire. So we'll see you guys in the battlefield. And we're back. The players have loaded into the game. It's Game 1, best of 3 between these 2 players here. Hadri's is going to be coming in with the Greenskins, so let's go ahead and take a look at that force. So Azag up in the skies, he is a bit of a vulnerable target in the sense that handgunners and cannons can shoot him, but with pretty good micro, you can usually avoid cannon fire by just kind of zigzagging. It's still very intensive, but nonetheless, Hadri's could certainly do it. But aside from that, he's very, very good against Empire. Spirit Leech is very solid against Demogryph Knights and their characters. He's a powerful duelist. He can actually go fisticuffs with Karl Franz, and I believe he could beat Boris pretty bad up in the skies. Karl's going to be tougher because of Gal Maraz, but Azag is very, very powerful. In the front line for Hadri's, he's got a combination of Orc Biggins, it looks like Savage Orcs across the front line, and oftentimes you're going to be facing Spearmen with shields or state troops, so having this type of a composition is going to be great. So yeah, we just got Savage Orcs across the entire front line. A couple Squig herds as well. So Hadri's coming in with the Squig, the Meatball Slam. They totally look like... How come we never articulated that these things look like meatballs? Like, they're totally just these giant meatballs. And it's pretty great. Anyways, 2 Squig herds here. He does have some Biggins in the back line. And also for his mobile force, a couple groups of Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Very good against Empire. They can harass the back line, or if the Empires come in with heavy cav play, they can countercharge them, poison them, slow them down, give you a lot of utility. Got a couple more Night Goblins, so a very wide infantry army with a couple supporting elements of Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Azag is going to be doing most of the heavy lifting against the monsters, and or I guess the Imperial Griffins, as well as the Demogryph Knights and Empire Knights, things like that. Cool little force. He does also have the Dirk and Squig Hoppers here in the forest, and that is pretty much it. Now, for the forces of Xiphos, looks like he's going to be going with the Volkswagen. So we got Volkmar the Grim right here, ready to party. He's up on his war altar. He's very good against Greenskins. Greenskin missile pressure isn't that great. He has 100 armor, so I mean, the only missile unit that's really going to punish him are the rusty arrows. So I mean, there's ways of shutting them down. Plus, he has a bound banishment, which is great. So Volkmar the Grim going to be coming in with the steel chair potentially. And it looks like for his main army, he does have swordsmen. He's got silver bullets. He's got great swords in the back line. A very, very cool army for sure. Empire Knights, and it looks like the Hammer of the Witches is going to be hammering the burning through the witches, digging through the ditches, Dragula, Rob Zombie, all that good stuff. And yeah. Pretty cool little force. It's going to be more of a defensive formation. It doesn't look like he's going to be trying to pressure the Greenskins. It looks like more of a reactionary type build where they come in, you counterplay them, you counterpunch, that kind of thing. So Royal Turf Fights, Empire Knights are going to be the cav units. A lot of powder units coming in with Free Company Militia, and Volkswagen going to be leading the charge. So we'll let them know. Start. Ready. And yeah, it's go time, guys. Thank you for joining. And I see we have a couple donations right out of the gate, so thank you guys so much for your kind donations here. $2 from King Agizal. Donate if you're, I can't read that part, is out for Harambe in 2019. Right on, man. I support that. And Linson, thank you for the 5. Great stash. The SAS would be proud. Hey, man, I'm trying my best here. It's a work in progress. Although Lady Turn will probably make me get rid of it, so. Don't worry, I have some Doom Wheel action coming here, or Doom Player action coming on the channel relatively soon. But as far as the armies go, it's going to be a tough Empire army to crack for sure, but if Hadri's is able to kind of overwhelm him, I mean, Savage Orcs will out-trade against standard state troops like swordsmen and things like that, but Free Company Militia, cav charges, cannons, it's going to be micro-intensive for Xiphos, but Xiphos is certainly one of the best players in the Total War Warhammer 2 community, so it's going to be, or Total War, I should say. So he's certainly up to the task. Hadri's is a force to be reckoned with. I actually played him last night on ladder, and he gave me a pretty good beating with Malekith, so I mean, he's ready to party here. So he does have the Broken Tusk Mob in the back as well. We did miss those Bacon Boys, but those guys with the support of Azak should be able to do some pretty good work against Empire Heavy Cav. So the Greenskins going to be swarming from all angles. They even have a surround in the back already. Forest Goblin Spider Riders coming in and looking to get a charge here, but you can see Xiphos is going to be sending some Empire Knights, which can deal with Forest Goblin Spider Riders simply because their armor is too high. Now the Hammer of the Witch is going to be shooting, it looks like, at some Squigs or Savage Orcs. It did actually make contact with some of the Savage Orcs here, but the Wah's coming. Forest Goblin Spider Riders, the Dirk and Squigs are going to be swarming into this flank right here. Now there are spears and greatswords, and he has a lot of layers, which is very, very good. And it looks like he's going at a bit of a tight box formation. I don't know if that's intentional, but interesting. Maybe he's just trying to like force someone to like get around so he can collapse on them. I haven't seen that too much. So right here, a little bit of a line of sight issue for the silver bullets. They were going to get some shots initially, but there is a little bit of a slope right here. So Xiphos wasn't able to get those initial blasts right here. And the Greenskin Wah is going to be swarming in. Forest Goblin Spider Riders getting a little bit of a charge here on the Brave Swordsman of Sigmar. And just going to be pulling out. That's what she said. It's just not the best engagement. And the Free Company Militia able to poke those guys. So the Greenskin main force is still advancing. You can see the Orc Biggins and other troops are going to be coming over the slope here. And the first couple volleys from the Silver Bullets and Company are going to be slamming into these Night Goblins, who are also going to be getting shreked by these Brave Sons of Sigmar, who are going to be coming in with the bait and switch here from Hadri's. He pulls back a little bit, trying to pull him into the Biggins, but nonetheless, still a pretty good charge from Xiphos, but it defends. Yeah, he pulls back pretty quick, so very good play. But disaster for Xiphos in the back line. Hadri's is able to sneak those Goblins into the back. He gets on the Hammer of the Witches, and that is brutal for Xiphos. I mean, that's going to be a huge loss. Now, all the guns are going to be turning about face, but oh man, if he can keep that Hammer of the Witches, those guys are just so durable for like a cannon crew. On the other side, you can see the Greenskin Wah has been popped. It looks like the banishment for the Volkswagen is going to be coming in right here on top of the Dirk and Squigs. And it makes okay contact. Nothing to write home about for sure, but maybe it'll go into some of these other troops. Up in the sky, Azak is getting peppered a little bit by some of the Free Company Militia. They don't have the best, overall damage output compared to like handgunners and things like that, but it's still damage. And the Greenskins are going to be swarming in. I mean, Nasty Skulkers coming in, Broken Tusk Mobs in pretty good shape. Over here, the Wah, of course, has been popped. So the Goblins and Company are just going to be grinding through these Empire Knights and these state troops, and it feels like the back line's in a little bit of trouble. Azak coming in, and this is the one part of the game that's going much better for Xiphos, is he's doing a really good job killing the Greenskin leadership. You can see Azak's in pretty bad shape, but I have a feeling this Empire flank isn't going to hold long. And you can see the center pocket for the Empire is completely collapsed. So the swordsmen are offline. Yeah, offline is an understatement. They're going to be getting just run down by Savage Orcs, as well as these nasty Skulkers who are going to be surging into the backline. But Xiphos is now pulling in his reserves. So the Greatsword's going to be charging in there to meet the Savage Orcs, and that's a great engagement for the Greatswords. Savage Orcs have pretty terrible AP, so it's going to be okay for the Empire here. Granted, nasty Skulkers might be able to overwhelm them with just sheer numbers. Now, the Waz going to be piling in, trying to get into this back line. The Free Company Militia are still shooting, and the Hammer of the Witches crew is offline, so that's a ton of gold for Xiphos here that really just isn't being used. But the Royal Altar of Griffites going to be slamming into these troops, and they're going to be so good against nasty Skulkers and like low-tier Goblins because they cause terror. And it is buying some time for the guns to get back, and maybe later in the game, Xiphos is going to be able to get the Hammer of the Witches back online, but for now it's in a little bit of trouble. Azak up in the sky is doing a pretty good job, going to be swooping in to shut down the Free Company Militia, but Xiphos is just responding very, very well at this Lord, and even though he's losing many aspects of the battle, I think that if he can keep working down this Lord and have good cav micro with his goon squad here, he could be in pretty good shape. So the Volkswagen and company is able to run that stuff over. You can see these Royal Altar of Griffites are going to be a huge menace this game. They're charging back in, and if they do get Azak here, I think that could actually be the game for the Greenskins. I mean, I know they have a lot of stuff left, but losing Greenskin leadership is just disastrous. And look at this, a massive surround. Aspect of the Dread Knight going down as an overcast, and it looks like it might be able to, push off and tear out some of these guys, but I mean, the Greenskin Wah is pretty persistent here. Let's look on this side. So we have the AP Gloonies fighting here. The Savage Orcs should be able to... No, they shouldn't. Those are great swords. I thought they were state troops, but it looks like Xiphos is starting to stabilize a little bit, but Azak does get up in the skies. He drops a nice little Spirit Leech right here on top of the Royal Altar of Griffites, which is a great choice, and the cannon crew is offline still, so losing that gold right away is very, very rough, and beautiful play here by Hadrius. He's able to grab Azak, right? He goes after the isolated caster. Azak is one of the best character assassins in the game, so he gets Spirit Leech on the other unit, of course, but he could use it on this guy, and he breaks the caster of Xiphos, which is going to be huge. It takes away the healing from the Royal Altar of Griffites, from the Volkswagen for a lot of those other troops here. And a couple of these Orc Biggins have detached from this engagement against the Spearmen. Looks like they're going to be trying to jump on the Royal Altar of Griffites, who are now at half health. Now, they still have 23 models, which is very good of their 24, but without healing, you're not going to be able to get up much more. So the battle's very, very close here. You can see up in the skies, Azak is going to be swooping about, but the Pig Boys, they're coming in hot. The Wild Hogs themselves coming in and jumping on the Jade Wizard and actually shattering him. So now Xiphos is without a caster. Now, he still does have the Volkswagen. He has somewhat healthy Royal Altar of Griffites. Well, not super healthy, but they're in okay shape. But it looks like the Volkswagen is going to be dropping a banishment back here as well, so it's going to be getting dropped on the Savage Orcs here, and that is pretty good value. It gets into those nasty Skulkers. A couple of these Spearmen will be getting tagged with that, but man, Hadri is so persistent here with the Spirit Leeches on top of the Royal Altar of Griffites. But I don't know. Can the Empire come back? They have some great swords over here, and they're going to be chewing through these state goblins. They're going to be chewing through the AP Gloonies and some of these other supporting elements. Skulkers over here are going to be chasing down these Spearmen, but there really isn't much left, and I feel like the cannon got almost no value against the Greenskins. It just got shut down. So Xiphos, this entire game, was kind of fighting a bit of a deficit, right? Not having those cannons online. I mean, it maybe got like 3 or 4 shots off on like cheap infantry, so it certainly didn't pay for itself. Now, the one way Xiphos might be able to get back into this game is if he can somehow snipe out Azag, like if he get that Griffites disengaged here, let Volkmar the Grim just kind of deal with this blob, and then the Griffites kind of snipe out the caster, or Azag, I should say. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Xiphos is really on point right now. He's playing very, very well, and he's not going to let Azag, get picked off. Right now, he's doing the right thing. He's taking Azag, he's going after great swords and just nearby troops and just routing off whatever he can for free. This is all free value. This is where the real fight is. You can see the Griffites are going to be getting dragged down by the Horde of Boys. So the Baconators, the Broken Tusk Mob coming in Wild Hog style, and just going to be chasing off these Royal Altar of Griffites. The Volkswagen, of course, is unbreakable. He's going to be fighting to the bitter end, but it looks like this is going to be game 1 for Hadri's here, which is definitely very, very solid. Yeah, losing out on that cannon early I think was pretty disastrous. The Volkswagen really counts for a lot in regards to the bounce of power, but does the Empire have anything left? And look at this. Hadri's actually forgot a group of Biggins as well. So just sending a message here. He's like, these guys, I'm going to save them for the next battle. They're going to hang back here. But man, he was able to win that battle without a very, very expensive group of infantry that he left in the back. So, I mean, kudos to him. Very, very good play there. So Azag's going to be coming in to duel Volkmar. We have the Duel of the Ages. Now, if Volkmar was somehow able to kill Azag, I mean, maybe he could kind of like rat off everything else, but I don't think so. I think there's a Goblin Big Boss here, a couple other troops. On the far side, he does have a couple great swords. Looks like they're going to be shattering. So yeah, it's literally just Azag versus the world at this point. I mean, stranger things have happened. I've seen the Greenskins, and they are one of those factions that can like just lose it if like leadership becomes an issue. So at this point, I mean, you just got to swarm in with everything you can and try and grind this one out. So the Volkswagen is going to be fighting against these little goblins here. The AP Clooney is going to be trying to grind this one out. And yeah, it's looking pretty grim. Great swords exist as I guess free real estate. So Volkmar the Grim going to be charging back over here, going to be running bravely into this Horde of Biggins, and it looks like Azag is really trying to chase off the Royal Altar of Griffites. Doesn't want any games, right? He's going to be like, I don't want to give Xiphos any chance of getting back in this game, so let's go ahead and chase off the Royal Altar of Griffites, get those freebies right there, and it looks like they are going to break, because they do cause terror, so it is quite impactful if they come back here. So he gets those guys off the battlefield. The Volkswagen is going to be fighting into the Orc Biggins here, which is, I mean, Biggins don't have the best AP, but nonetheless, he's going to be able to survive for quite long. He does have 100 armor here, so he's no joke for sure. So Azag's going to be pulling back in. It looks like there's pretty much no Imperial troops left on the battlefield. A couple of greatswords over there on the flanks. And Azag's going to be coming back in with the steel chair to finish this one off. I mean, I would probably attack. Azag is going to be able to greatly outduel Volkmar. Volkmar's damage output against like large targets is very poor. He only has 30 melee attack and 20 melee defense, so pretty much anything big can really just kind of munch him down. And Azag, I mean, you could always pull him out if things get ugly. So from here, it's basically just a grind fest. Volkmar the Grim isn't going to break, but nonetheless, he should be able to do a little bit of damage on his way out. So that's going to be the first game of the Eternal Challenger League Season 2, and it looks like it's going to be going to Hadries here as he does grind out Volkmar the Grim. And I just want to say a big thanks to all of you guys for joining today. This is going to be almost every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be having these events for 8 weeks in total. The 9th week is going to be the Grand Finals. You guys saw that. It's very similar to the Ever Chosen in terms of style. It's going to be a huge 8-man tournament. Although we might try and split it over 2 days now. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll figure it out. So the Force Goblin Spider Riders are going to be swarming in here. Biggins are coming in, and you can also see that the Goblin Big Boss coming in. And maybe Zypho still thinks he has a chance here. I certainly don't think he does, especially with Azag coming in. Azag is just such a beast. And you can see, like, he's not even giving him anything. He's just going to be pulling back, trying to bait out Volkmar the Grim, who's just rolling around on his wagon. I mean, Volkmar does cause terror. I mean, I guess, like, the righteousness of this is terrifying, right? But I don't know if it would actually cause terror. Like, I suppose being run over by, like, a giant, fanatical, dude here on this chariot would be pretty scary. So Azag's going to be charging in, getting a nice little cycle charge in the back of Volkmar the Grim. He's slowly getting worn down, but again, he's not going to get slapped with army losses. And look at this. You see, this is why Hadries left this in the back. He knew that in the late game it would be just Volkmar. He's like, you know what? I'm going to leave these Orc Biggins in reserve and see if I can, bring them in the late game, finish off Volkmar, and look, it's paying off right now. He's able to bring these Biggins in and see what they're saying in chat. No, I'm just saying all set. So it is a pick and ban system, so the players do a pick and ban or gentleman's agreement. So for the next game, and look at this, Volkmar the Grim is actually like terror routing all these guys. God, man, that pimp wagon is pretty scary. I mean, I think Azag should just go in and like stay in sustained combat with him. Like, Volkmar isn't going to be able to do anything back to Azag, and he'll die extremely quick. I mean, he might even have Spirit Leeches. Volkmar the Grim does have some pretty good magic resist. If we look, let's go ahead and check and see what it actually is. So his magic resist is 40%, his missile is 15. So he's going to be somewhat durable against magic attacks. But look at that. Azag coming in, just pounding him out, and then the Goblin Big Boss comes back. Biggins all of anti-large, so you can see his HP is just getting buzzsawed down. And yeah, so this is game 1. For anyone joining today, this is the first game of the Eternal Challenger League, and it looks like with that, bounce power is going to be massively going in the favor of the Greenskins as Azag does clean up shop. So GG, game 1 is officially going to be going to Hadries here in Season 2 of the Eternal Challenger League. So let's go ahead and update the scoreboard, go back to the caster's desk so you guys can all laugh at my mustache. But yeah, it was a great game. Honestly, very solid builds from Hadries, incredible micro, getting into the back line, just, really shutting down the value of the Empire. I mean, killing that Hammer the Witches, just overwhelming with massive amounts of infantry, truly the Greenskin playstyle. I mean, I have such a hard-on for using Black Orcs that I often forget, like, that the Force Multiplier of the Wall can be so good with an army like this. So both players played well, but the Hammer the Witches getting shut down is really, really big for sure. So we're going to be switching to game 2 here, so let's go ahead and get the screen blocker up, make sure he's all good to go, and we're going to update the brackets here as, no, wrong brackets, and the scorecard's what we're doing. Yes, good. Hadries is going to be going up 1-0 in this best of 3, so it's going to be 2 best of 3s, followed up by a best of 5 in the Grand Finals here today. Next match, we're going to have Shetland Apache, who is in chat right now, hanging out, facing off against King of the Dead, one of the veterans. Both are actually veterans of the Ever Chosen Invitational, and we'll come back to the desk here. So yes, we're doing it. I just woke up, so I might be a little bit groggy. Well, I woke up like an hour and a half ago, give or take. So we're getting there. And next map is going to be on Pillar of Bone. The players are actually working out the next matchups right now, so it is a pick and ban. You must ask me a question. Oh my god, I'm doing me, man. I don't get them often. Anna can usually only stand it for like a day or two, so I usually have to get rid of it at some point. So I figured you guys deserved it today. We deserve the mustache, and we're going to be doing it. It's going to be fun. Malekith versus Grombrindle is certainly very grudge-worthy. So for game 2, Hadries, it looks like he's going to be picking the Dark Elves, and we're going to see. Yeah, Dark Elves is one of his best factions for sure. And Zyphos, we're not sure what he's going to pick. It looks like they're doing their picks and bans in chat right now. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Really appreciate the support. Yeah, oh yeah. I love the Nurgle stuff. I mean, I play a Nurgle army in tabletop. I play Death Guard, but it's basically Nurgle. I mean, Death Guard are a Nurgle faction. So it's a lot of fun for sure. It's a lot of fun, my friends. Life's good. So there's going to be 8 qualifiers in total, to answer your question. Each one is going to have one winner. Each winner of these qualifiers is going to be going on to play in the grand finals, which we're going to hopefully have a pretty big prize pool this year. I mean, I guess it technically is a new year, so this time around. So yeah, we'll try our best. And it looks like it's going to be Skaven, so new Skaven facing off against Dark Elves here on the Pillar of Bone. Players are going to be picking their forces. We're going to see what happens. Yes. Yeah, we got to see a little bit of Empire action in the first game, and let's go ahead and jump back to the tournament here. All right, we're back. It's time. Dark Elves versus Skaven. Players are picking their forces. Big thanks to Professor Pone for dropping those sweet links to Discord there. Do appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be good. Pillar of Bone's a pretty small map. Granted, I mean, there's enough room for Skaven to work with and if they want to play artillery. Now, it's not going to be one of those maps where they get massive value from artillery pieces, but direct damage like, Warp Lightning Cannons and Jezzails are like perfectly suited for this map. But, most Dark Elf players are just going to be going deep in the back line. They're going to be bringing in like a ton of, Cav units, Dark Riders, like sometimes you'll see Harpies and Chariots. So, I mean, most people know how the Skaven play. Now, the Skaven can kind of mind game that and go with a bunch of Doom players and things like that. So, there is some back and forth. The one thing about Skaven that you don't really need to respect is actually their infantry. So, yes. All right, guys, it's time. Doing it to it. Skaven I don't believe Skaven are OP. I think a lot of people are learning. They have a couple units that are a little bit maybe overtuned. And not even the units themselves. I just think Natty Boo sharpshooters are a little bit tough to counterplay. But even still, I mean, in my experience in Ladder, since it's been out a couple weeks now, most people kind of know how to beat them and just kind of swarm you. So I don't think they're that bad. I really don't think it's worth like a major patch or like a big change, right? Nothing's that bad. As far as the rules of the tournament, it's going to be using King's Cup rules. So those were created by some fine gentlemen in the multiplayer community, namely the great Shetland Apache here. A couple other folks, he can shout them out. I'm not sure how many people collaborated on those rules in total. I know Pippington had a big hand in them as well, so big thanks to those guys. But yes, King's Cup rules. It dictates rules of engagements, army pick limits. It definitely makes the multiplayer community much better. I mean, it's crucial. So Hadri's and Zyphos picking their forces right now. I'll let them know they can start when ready. And I will be back in just 1 second, guys. All right, we're back. It is time. Doom players are really strong. I feel like one of the big issues with Doom players is the fact that their hitbox seems to be really small. Like, it's really hard to counterplay them with missiles. I find that it's just, like, a lot of times your missiles seem to just be obstructed. Whereas if there's, like, a Doom wheel in your infantry, you can shoot it pretty easily. But with things like Doom players, it's really hard to target them. So, I don't know if it's, like, a thing. I don't think they need a nerf pertaining to their stats, but it seems like there's just something mechanically that's a little bit weird about them. Oh, man. Yeah, Shetland Apache says it's a group effort. Our entire Discord helps out. Good stuff, good stuff. Shetland Apache is playing in today's tournament. He's going to be playing in the second match versus King of the Dead. So we're going to have another fierce cockfight after this one. Hadri's is up 1-0 here. So if Hadri's does clinch this game, he's going to be moving on to the finals and potentially qualifying for the grand finals at the very end of the season. So 8 weeks of competition, like I said, it's going to be a blast. I want to sincerely thank you guys for joining today. Really do appreciate everyone spending their Saturday mornings, afternoons, or nights, depending on where you are in Europe with me. So Pillar of Bone, small map, like I said, but a lot of good Vanguard options. I think it's one of the best maps in multiplayer in general. It has a couple of really good elements about it. Number one, it's like the action starts pretty quick, right? There's not going to be a lot of cat and mouse. It's just straight to business, and there's Vanguard options. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. So Aster117 likes for the like throne. Thank you so much for the donation. And yes, if you are enjoying the stream, make sure to drop a like. It does help out quite a bit. And yeah, Professor Pone says I am the rules. Oh my god, that's some good tea right there. Game 2, Hadri's coming in with the steel chair, taking out the Hammer of the Witches in game 1. Now he's going to be seeing if he can clinch this series 2-1. Now, I think Dark Elves have a pretty good matchup against Skaven. They have a lot of tools that are very good at penetrating the back line. Their infantry are cheap and cost effective. It's a pretty good matchup for the Dark Elves. Granted, that's more of like a pre-DLC thing. I think Skaven have a very even matchup here now. I think Skaven have a lot of very powerful tools, dynamic builds, good lore choices. I mean, Skaven are a top tier faction in my opinion. A little bit tougher than some because of their leadership, but I mean, if you're, a tournament player or a higher level player, Skaven are going to be very, very good for sure. Skaven are just a faction that for beginners can be a little bit hard. Granted, if you are a beginner and you want to play Skaven, I mean, you can always just go with mass like Doom Wheel or Rush builds, and it's going to be pretty safe and not too terribly micro intensive. All right. So let me make sure the scoreboard isn't blocking you guys anymore. So we'll go ahead and turn that off here. And we are here. So for the army of Hadrius, who's going to be playing the Dark Elves, he does have Malekith up in the skies, who he actually used against me last night. Malekith is very powerful. Soul Stealer, Blades, he does have the Blade, what is Blade Storm? Oh, man, I never see that spell. I always forget what it's called. Blade Wind. And the Power of Darkness. For his main force, it's going to be Bleak Swords and Dread Spears. Pretty much standard. You don't need to respect Skaven front line. I mean, Bleak Swords can really beat down, Skaven slaves and Clan Rat level units. I mean, you have 24, 18, and you can see on these guys you have 30, 34, 30, and 28. So their stats are just way better. On the flanks, he does also have a couple Witch Elves. So actually, the Sisters of Singing Doom. So they're pretty good against Skaven. They cause terror, so it's nice to kind of mix them in the front line. Very squishy, however. So they can get focused down by slingers, Rattling Gunners, all kinds of tools. So in the back line, you just have 2 chariots. So we have the Cold One chariots and also 2 groups of Cold One Knights. So I really like this army so far. It has pretty good backline penetration with Cold One Knights. He also has a couple Harpies up in the skies. I think he has Harpies. They're going to be behind the Skaven army, which is very, very solid. He has Dark Riders, so a ton of backline penetration. But if his opponent does go with Flayers and elite stuff, he has Malekith. He has 2 Cold One Knights. So it's a very well-rounded army here by Hadrius. I like it quite a bit. You can see in the back we have the Harpies and we have the Dark Riders. And in the front line here, for these Skaven, it looked like it's going to be Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves, pretty much standard stuff. I mean, elite Skaven infantry, especially in this matchup, I don't think are worth it. Grace here with the Lore of Plague, going to be dropping some sweet, sweet Pestilent Rebirth. Not Pestilent Rebirth, it looks like it's just going to be Vermintide, as well as the Blades of Putrefaction is 40k. It's going to be Blessed with Filth. On top of that, he's got 2 Rattling Gunners, so Rattling Guns right here and here. He's got a couple Rat Ogres in the back, and he does have Warplock Jezzails. Now, he didn't bring Natty Bubos, which is interesting. They are really, really, really good, but it looks like he was just probably trying to save some money here. He's got a couple Clan Rats in the back, Rat Ogres protecting those, so really it's just going to come down to this. I think if Xiphos can protect his back line and keep the Harpies out and the Dark Riders out and the Chariots from really doing a lot of damage, but I'm a little bit concerned. He only has 2 or 3 Rat Ogres. I guess he does have a couple Flayers, which can stop Chariots in their tracks, but it's going to be a lot to protect. I mean, this is, he's got 3 of these missile units here, and, the Rat Ogres, he's got Spears. It's just going to be very micro-intensive, but if Xiphos can protect his back line, I think he's going to be in super good shape here. Yes. I think Skaven were in a pretty bad place for a long time. I think that they're right where they should be now. It's really nice to see them be able to compete with top tier factions without having to be like a specialist, right? There were players like Aerocrastic, for example, who were just like these top tier players, at specific races. He was very, very good. I mean, he's good at everything, but he was very, very good at Skaven, and he was able to make them work pretty well in tournaments before the patch. But now it's great to see them, getting all these tools so that people can really grab them and learn them and things like that. So we'll let him know, start when ready, and it's go time. Yes, Malekith going to be coming in. He's a pretty big target for those Jezzails. But, if the Jezzails get shut down somehow by the Dark Riders or Harpies or push off the battlefield, for example, I mean, Malekith's just going to go balls deep in this army. I mean, there's not going to be much that can stop him aside from these missile units. The leadership for this Skaven is going to be the Grey Seer. He's not a duelist by any means, but he's, relatively cheap. He has summons, some pretty good abilities, so yeah, I like it. So this is going to be the second game of the first match, and here we go. So Jezzail's going to be opening up immediately, just shooting downtown against some of these Dread Spears. But, of course, Xiphos is going to be turning his sights most likely onto the Sisters of Singing Doom or the back line. So he's going to be trying to shut down the Harpies. Rattling Gunners are going to be last samuraiing these guys pretty bad. And here come the Dark Riders. So the Rattling Gunners opening up shop on the Harpies. This is going to be doing so much damage. And the Harpies are immediately going to be pulling back. It looks like, oh man, they're just getting lawnmowered. That is brutal. Now the Warplock Jezzails are going to get jumped on. And if the Harpies can kind of stabilize and at least fight for like 30, 40 seconds or so, I mean, they might be able to buy some time for the rest of the army. But these Dark Riders and these Harpies need to be very, very patient, try and find a way into the back line. But now the front line's a little bit open. Malekith is going to be taking some of that Rattling Gun fire. So the Harpies in the back just got mowed down. So beautiful play here from Xiphos, not wanting to drop this game here. And Malekith's going to be flying overhead. Looks like he might be going after the Rattling Gunners, but I mean, that's going to be a ton of damage, Bob. And you can see here that the Cold One Chariot's going to be trying to penetrate into the back. But Xiphos doing a very good job. He's going to be intercepting with the Rat Ogres here, jumping on those guys. But Malekith is into the cookie jar a little bit, but he is going to be taking crossfire from the Warplock Jezzails. But the front line of the Skaven is already buckling a little bit. Cold One Knights are bum rushing in. And it looks like the Dark Riders and the Harpies are going to be trying to get in as well. And a Gaze of Malice coming down, it looks like it got canceled. But this is the classic Dark Elf play. You charge them with Malekith, you bait everyone in on top of you, then use a Soul Stealer to kind of counterplay them. And it looks like Malekith is going to be attacking the Grey Seer, and the Rattling Gunners are trying to get in position, but some of the Harpies are swarming in. Dark Riders are trying to get past these Storm Vermin, but the Storm Vermin are actually holding. Looks like he does have a couple elite troops here in the back line. And the Rattling Gunners are still pretty stable, so Xiphos is in really good shape right now. I think he's pretty far ahead in this game. He's been able to kind of protect this backline very well. Everywhere that Hadrius has tried to get in and tried to do damage, he's reacted very well. He used the Flayers to kind of block up the front line, so the Doom Flayers here are going to be running over some of these Sisters of Singing Doom. And they might get rampaged, but nonetheless, their armor is going to be so good against the low AP of the Witch Elves. And Malekith in the back is in Mortal Kombat. He's going to be fighting these Rat Ogres back here, and it looks like the Cold One Chariots are being forced off, actually, so it looks like the Grace here was able to kind of pin them back. Rat Ogres and Doom players are actually holding back the Cold One Knights. Granted, this is a pretty good little engagement here for Hadri's. He's certainly not out of the game. If Malekith can pull back and get a really good Soul Stealer, I think he could be in good shape. And it looks like he is able to shut down the Jezzails, which is going to be pretty big. So the Dark Riders are able to shut those guys down. The other Rattling Guns are almost shut down, but the Rat Ogres are just so sticky. They're just staying on top of Malekith, not letting him get away. And we got a pretty even fight on our hands. I think the bounce power is slightly in the favor of the Skaven here, but yeah, he still does also have the Rattling Guns weapons teams. Over here, these other ones are still in line as well, but it looks like there's going to be a big charge coming in the front line from the Dark Riders, and the entire Skaven front line is pretty much buckled. So Hadri's really needs to get on top of this. He needs to grab the Dread Spears. He needs to grab these guys, send them into the back line, start grinding out the Skaven force, because them sitting idle here is not going to be good at all. Now, the bounce power going massively in the favor of these Skaven here as they just kind of swarm in. The Vermintide getting in there, just going pretty deep. These Rat Ogres are able to beat down the Dark Riders, and it looks like the Cold One Knights are pretty much forced off here. And I think that's going to be all she wrote for the Dark Elves. The Skaven are able to hold the line. Rattling Gunners are able to just mow down the pressure from the Harpies, which was great. And look at this. Even in the late game, he still has some Rattling Guns online, which is, you know, a bit of a feat. It's always hard to keep those guys online. The other ones are online as well. So they're going to be shooting at Malekith. And, yeah, they're just going to be having fun. Malekith's going to be jumping in, trying to snipe out the Grace here. Maybe if he gets like a big Soul Stealer right here, but there just isn't any Dark Elves left. The Flayers are cleaning up the scraps in the flanks. And yeah, it looks like the Flayers over here are just doing a great job, able to just beat down the Sisters of Singing Doom as well as those Cold One Knights with a little bit of support from Clan Rats. And yeah, beautiful play here. Zyphos is able to take game 2, it looks like, with a very, very solid performance from the Skaven. A ton of pressure coming in from Hadri's, but Zyphos remained calm. He used his Rat Ogres efficiently. He got the value from his missile line, and ultimately that pulled him out. So it was great. The bell tolls for the Dark Elves' demise. Yes, indeed it does. Yes, indeed. So that's going to be game 2, going for Zyphos here. And now we're down to the rubber match. Yeah. Rattling Gunners are very powerful. I don't think they need a nerf because of their maximum range. They're not that strong. So, for example, had there been a couple like Dark Shards or Shades or something, it would have been able to really burn those guys down. So, so yeah, it's showtime. Set armies to normal size. I think large. Check off large armies. Great. All right, so we're going to do this right now. We just had to do that. And back to the caster's desk once we change the scoreboard here. And back to the desk. All right. And it looks like they're going to be checking that. And they're going to be working out their last match here, which should be quite a bit of fun. He was wondering if you wanted to do that, but he's going to cast the replays later. Okay, cool. Cool. Oh yeah, it's good to be back, guys. I was missing the live streams quite a bit. I mean, we had done a couple, but for the most part, I was really waiting to start streaming often for the Eternal Challenger League. And now that it's back, we're going to be streaming every week. And during the week, maybe we'll mix in some campaign streams and things like that. Maybe some other games. Warcraft 3, I think, was on the tablet for this week. We're going to be doing some of those. And yes, guys, the Eternal Challenger League for the format, it is a qualifier series. So you can see here, if we go to the brackets, this is today's competition. So Hadri's versus Zyphos here in this first game. And the winner will qualify and be put on the Lizard Moses' tablet. So yes, it will be one of 10 ones chosen. And they're going to be advancing to the grand finals. So it should be quite a bit of fun. Now we're back. Oh, we gotta block this up to make sure as they pick their new armies here that they can't screen snipe one another. And I meant unit size. Sorry. All right. Yes, Nexus. I probably will watch that. I think Skaven are much stronger. I wouldn't say they're broken. I mean, I think like Vampire Coast when they first came out was stronger than the Skaven are now. There'll probably be a couple tweaks. I think there might be a couple units that kind of get worked down on the Skaven, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough for sure. I mean, there's a kind of a whole school of thought. Like with Dark Elves, for example, if you go super wide, Hadri's brought a lot of big targets. He did bring Malekith and these expensive chariots, which is very good for the good targets for this Skaven, right? So, but even still, it could have worked. But yeah, Zyphos did a really good job protecting his back line. It was incredibly solid. So, yes. Yes, you've been waiting. They're looking like the general of the Empire out here. Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, I just figured I actually had a full beard today too, like before the stream, but it was just so haggard and like patchy. I was like, you know what? Let's go in, guys. Let's make a statement. Let's come in hard with this mustache and see if we can, win the day out. So that was kind of the plan here. Lizardmen are very strong now. They're very, very strong. So Hadri's is going to be picking... Oh, he's picking vampire counts. Now, you know what I think is almost an unwinnable matchup for the Vampire Counts is actually against Lizardmen. Lizardmen just shit on Vampire Counts now, with like Croak just nuking the infantry. God, it is nasty. So we're going to see if Zyphos picks Lizardmen. Looks like he's going to be going for High Elves, because they do have bans, of course, and they're working that out. They're in a chat room together right now, so they're kind of negotiating, but perhaps I was hoping for Lizardmen, but we're going to see as the players do pick their armies here. What does Turin's upper lip say to the Razor? Not today. Yes. Dimitri says, "Hey Turin, are you trying to look like your father-in-law, so-called in Poland, Janusz?" Oh my god, dude, the Janusz meme. The Janusz jokes just get me every time. My lovely wife introduced me to those, and it's just so goddamn funny. Well, technically, the endgame embargo, I think like the official one is like this Monday, because after Monday, apparently Marvel and all them are going to be posting like endgame spoilers and things on their social medias and like showing pictures and stuff like that. So yeah, so please don't talk about endgame in chat if you guys don't mind. Or I mean, yeah, just no spoilers basically. If I shave my head, I could go full Volkmar. Yeah, maybe for Halloween. Maybe for Halloween. So it's going to be High Elves versus Vampire Counts, which is actually a really fun matchup. I think it's one that, I don't know who I would favor in this matchup in terms of the factions. High Elves have some really good tools. I mean, Sisters, Archers are very good against like Mortis Engines. You can't really afford to bring a Mortis Engine. The Dragons can fight. I mean, they have a lot of tools. The large armies box. A Slayer beard. Unfortunately, my beard is like the weakest part of my game. I've never been able to grow great beards. So you do what you can. We're in game 3 of the first series here. The players are actually picking their armies right now between Hadri's and Zyphos. And after that, we're going to be going on the Shetland Apache versus King of the Dead. No, I'm from California. Yeah, this is the first 2 players, Jason Denny. Thanks for joining, man. Hope you're doing well. Players are just going to be picking their factions here, Vampires versus High Elves. I wonder if we're going to see the Balls Deep Mortis Engine. The Mortis Engine is a bit of a bold pick. I mean, if they don't have the Archer play to deal with it, it can win you the game. But if you do get, I mean, if it gets mowed down by Archers like instantly, you're just going to basically lose the game, which is going to be good. Yeah, King of the Dead is going to be coming up next to face off against Shetland Apache. Hadri's did lose the second game pretty quick, but he was able to win the first one against Zyphos in a very convincing fashion with the Greenskins. So we had Greenskins versus Empire in the first game, Skaven versus Dark Elves in the second game. And for anyone watching back after the fact, you guys are going to be able to, see all the timestamps and everything like that. So yeah, Lizardmen are very good as well. I agree with that. I think Lizardmen are a little bit harder to. They're hard to. It's not as easy. I think Skaven are a little bit, I don't know. The thing about Lizardmen is they have really good leadership, so even if you make a couple mistakes, like you're not going to lose the game, but like Skaven, if you screw up and let your back line go, you can just lose instantly. Lizardmen are a little bit more forgiving, but they're also like, I feel like it's harder to master Lizardmen. It's a little bit trickier for sure, but they can just do fat armor rushes. I mean, Lizardmen have a ton of really good tools for sure. Yeah, this is certainly going to be a good matchup. I mean, I've never been able to really put my finger on who has an advantage in this matchup, but yeah, I think the Elves are going to be good. Vampire Counts can do it. Maybe we'll see a little bit of Black Coach action. I love that some of the meme units, like the Tief Robbers and the Black Coach, have become pretty good in Warhammer 2. Yeah. Is Warhammer? Yeah, Warhammer has a pretty big audience in Europe. As far as the analytics on my channel go, start when ready. As far as the analytics on my channel go, it's mostly European actually. So I think like 30% of my YouTube audience are people who watch the channel are from America, and everyone else is like European and other parts of the world. So I think European is like makes up like 50% of my audience, and 30 or so from America, and the rest is kind of mixed around South America and Asia and a couple other places. So Dwarfs are okay. The thing about Dwarves is like when you're playing against competitive Dwarf players, you can typically always know what they're going to bring. It's just going to be like spread out thunders and cannons and things like that. So you can they're a little bit predictable, but I mean there's some really good Dwarf players out there. Like there's a gentleman named Emu Packer who's really good at them, and you see him on ladder, and they can be really good. But they are a little bit of a one-trick pony in terms of competitive play. Like, you can make other builds work, but it's just it's a little bit tricky in my opinion. I love Dwarfs. I mean, in terms of lore, they're one of my favorites. Noctilus is the best faction. Yeah, he's not as powerful as he used to be, but he's certainly very good. Jason Denny, god damn, man, thank you. So Jason Denny, guys, comes in with a fat $99.99 donation here at the Turin discount store. Here for a good start to Season 2. Jason, I really appreciate your support, man. You've been donating for a long time, so I really do appreciate it, man. And we're going to make Season 2 good for you. Oh, yeah. Players taking a little bit of time to pick their armies, of course. It's, you know, there's a lot on the line here. They both want to qualify for the finals here, so they're going to be a little bit careful with their picks. But, man, thank you, Jason. Thank you. Yeah, I really do appreciate it, man. That means a lot. Woot for the erect stack. The dirty South represent. Oh, man. I love it. I have a lot of family in the South, actually. I have family from Texas, and in terms of like my family history, like half my family's from like New York City, like East Coast Italians, and the other half is like kind of like Southern country folk. The Dawi still have the best Mortal Empires campaign. Yeah, so Dwarfs are pretty hard in multiplayer for sure. Yeah, do drop a like if you guys are enjoying the stream. Helps out quite a bit. We have a lot more competition today. We have another best of 3 and a best of 5 finals. So there's going to be a lot of Warhammer going on. If you guys are looking for something to do on your Saturday night, I got your back. And we're going to have a good time together. So Hadri's coming in with a pretty solid little list here, making some last minute tweaks. It's tricky, right? Dealing with High Elves. They have some really good answers against your big stuff. I mean, High Elves can do a Death Star with like Phoenix Guard and Dragons. They can go with Archer heavy build. Just burn down your Vargulfs and your Mortis engines. And I mean, there's so many. They have nets to really isolate the big targets. High Elves have a lot of good answers here. It's I can kind of understand Hadri's plight here. It's tough. I'm 30 years old. Let's answer your question, Oscar. 30 years old. Yes. Yeah, I do wish Dwarves had a little bit more of a diverse playstyle, but the fact they have no cav, I mean, yeah, you can use gyrocopters and things like that, but they're always a little bit tough to use. Very, very situational in my opinion. Yeah. We have King of the Dead and Shetland Apache talking some smack here in chat. Oh, it looks like Shetland's going to come in and show people the fury of the Dawi, which is going to be good. Yes, now I can buy a razor. I actually have an electric razor, so I don't. It works pretty well. Why would you use any other faction when you can have dinosaurs riding dinosaurs? Well, that's certainly a very, very solid point. Personally, I actually like Skaven a lot. Skaven in terms of like thematics, I just think they're so fun to play. But I do like Lizardmen. I'm just not so good at Lizardmen. They're one of my weaker factions actually. Even though like, you know, I can perform with them, but I'm not going to be able to compete with like top level players with Lizardmen. But yeah, they're really good. I mean, Kroka's a monster. He's so good against undead factions. He just single-handedly like wrecks the undead. There's this really nasty build I've been using and running into, and it's just basically what you do is you just use a skink chief or a red crested skink chief on a Stegodon with the warrior's crest, Lord Croak to nuke all the undead units, double feral carnosaur. Then you just go with like Temple Guard and just like elite troops, and it's so hard for them to beat. It's so hard. All right, guys, here we go. Game 3 here in this fierce cockfight between Hadri's and Xiphos. We're finally loading in. Let's go ahead and get rid of the screen blocker to make sure there's no drama and you guys can see all the fun action. And after this, the winner is going to be moving on to the finals to face the winner of Shetland Apache and King of the Dead. We've already stirred up a little bit of rivalry here in chat, which is quite healthy. Yes, yes. Misha, thank you for the adminning as well today and kind of moderating chat and all that. Do appreciate that. His name is the Never Chosen. Who's the Never Chosen? This is a pretty good map as well. This is kind of like one of the Warhammer classics. This one's been around just forever. Wicked, that's pretty funny. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at the armies of the undead. So here on foot, we do have Manfred von Waldstein. He's very good. Manfred is a beast. He can bring a lot of good spells against High Elves, Spirit Leech, Fated Buna. I mean, he has access to death, right? Death and vampires. And what's really cool about him is he actually has the Winds of Magic to do everything he wants. With the Sword of Unholy Power and the Master of the Black Arts, he's going to be able to cast spells to his heart's desire. I mean, Manfred, probably one of the best casters in the entire game. Top of that, a couple of Fellbats to harass. He does have some angry doggos down here, so he does have Direwolves. Looks like there's going to be a big black coach, as well as the Claw of Nagash. So Claw of Nagash is a very bold strategy, Cotton. If the High Elves do have archers, it's rare that you can get this thing to work out pretty well. But, I mean, if it's left unimpeded, it can win you the battle single-handedly. But I feel like it's so hard to keep alive against High Elves. We got Blood Knights on the ground, Sternsman, Graveguard with great weapons, a couple of Golems as well. So we have the Angry Golems, cue the Italian Spartacus impression, and yeah, these guys are pretty good against like Spearmen and Tile of Chaff, but against anything greater than Spearmen, they're pretty much just going to get crumped on. He does have a caster as well on the far side, or not a caster, but a supporting element. So this is guy's going to be stroking his Forbidden Rod in the forest. It's going to be the Necromancer, and basically he just brings this guy as a mana battery. And for the forces of the High Elves, let's go and take a look over here for Xiphos. Xiphos has a pretty solid little force here. He's got 4 groups of Spearmen, a little bit spread out, trying to pull the Vampire counts apart, which is good. In the back, he's got Lothern Seaguard, so he does have 3 in total. 2 groups of the Sisters of Averlorn to really pound down those big targets. 3 groups of Sisters. Oof, that's going to be pretty rough. And he does have Teclis with Nets and Regrowth, so he's really going to be going for that Missile Isolation style of play. He does have a Noble as well, Anti-Large, very good against Vargulfs and Terrorgeists. So a nice little Missile army here from Xiphos. Not really going to be playing the mobile game at all. Sometimes you will see like a Reaver or 2, which is pretty good at like dealing with hounds and backline pressure and cleaning up Fellbats, but he just straight business here. I mean, there's a lot to protect. I mean, if his backline starts to get overwhelmed, I really just don't see the Mortis Engine getting in there and doing some good work. So start when ready. Nicholas, thank you for the kind words, Nicholas Kendall. I do appreciate it. This is one of my favorite maps. This is one of my favorite maps for sure. I don't know. I feel like the High Elves, their army comp is going to be super good against this. I mean, the Dark Elves, like Crypt Ghouls, are going to get focused down here. Not Dark Elves, for the Vampire counts. Kalab Nagash is going to have trouble. But again, the Blood Knights could really just wreak havoc in the back line if they can get in there, and the Black Coach as well. So there's a lot of penetrating tools. And my one complaint about this High Elf army here is that there's no mass really aside from the Nobles. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's really going to come down to Noble micros. Xiphos can get the Nobles on top of the Coaches and the backline penetration tools. He's going to be in good shape for sure. And Lothar and Seaguard do have anti-large as well and charge defense. So they're pretty good against like, you know, Blood Knights and Black Knights and things like that. So there are a couple things. It's just going to be really micro intensive. But if Xiphos is on point and his micro is really good, I think he's going to have the advantage here in this matchup. That's just my early game prediction. So on that note, guys, let's see how this goes. Let's have some fun. Thank you again for joining. Welcome back to Season 2 of the Eternal Challenger League. And over here, Xiphos is going to be rotating over in this direction, getting Teclis, Big Papa Teclis, going to be getting in position. Just eyeing out this Vampire Count army, and it looks like the Vanguard back here probably has been spotted. These Dire Wolves do have an opportunity to kind of chew on some of the Sisters. But what's kind of cool about Xiphos' missile line is that everything is pretty tough. I mean, Sisters have good combat stats, 38, 50, and 32. These guys have 25 and 45, so they're going to be able to fend off Dire Wolves pretty efficiently. So you really need to get into the back line with some of your more important tools. Now, the spooky undead forces are going to be rolling in the deep here. The Necromancer is also going to be advancing, so he's not going to be hiding him in the back. Looks like everyone's going to be called to arms here. And we're going to see what happens. Fellbat's going to be swooping around the flanks, just getting in position. Ideally, if you're playing against a missile faction like this, you don't want to trickle in. You don't want any Reaganomics. Basically, you just want to like get all your forces in position, wait for your infantry to get there and do like a big alpha strike all at once. Or even a little bit of a delayed push can be good if your opponent isn't aware of it. But for the most part, I think that Xiphos is quite aware of the Dire Wolves and other backline harass tools. So we're going to see how efficient it's going to be. In the meantime, Teclis just waiting. Going to be dropping some fat nets most likely. On top of probably, I don't know, what's he going to, he's probably going to net the Black Coach. I mean, the Black Coach or the Blood Knights are going to be the big net targets. And Crypt Ghouls are going to be trying to sneak around. Crypt Ghouls will trade okay with Spearmen. Over a long fight, they actually can grind them down. So yeah, we're going to see if those Crypt Ghouls can do some work. Archers here on the far side, Lothar and Seaguard opening up with some tickling shots here against the Fellbats. Not doing a lot of damage, but nonetheless, almost breaking their leadership. They are Fellbats after all. Man, this is going to be a tough High Elf army to crack. And Vampire counts like lose their strength as they get spread out. So I really like what Xiphos did here. By spreading out his army super wide, it kind of forces the Vampire counts to do the same thing to get the proper engagements. So it's going to like take away from Invocations of Nehek and things like that. And I wonder what Manfred is going to Spirit Leech. Probably not Teclis. The Potion of Croix is just very, very good. He's probably going to be dropping it on top of Nobles. Nobles are going to be the most important targets by far. So I think taking those guys out is really going to open up the backline pressure. In the meantime, we got the Feasters in the dusk and the Dire Wolves kind of waiting in the wings. The High Elves are going to be advancing, and the Archers are just going to tear these zombies to shreds. He's probably going to use Lothar and Seaguard. He should definitely save the ammunition of these Sisters for the bigger targets, but he's just going to be burning down these ghouls. I mean, these ghouls are going to get shreked so bad. I mean, I would probably shoot the ghouls with the Sisters. They're worth killing. And you can see here, he's going to be falling back with the Spearmen, kind of adjusting his formation a little bit. Sisters are going to be pulling forward, and they're going to be taking these Crypt Ghouls to Pound Town. And a Purple Sun's going to be getting dropped here, so Xiphos probably going to be able to react. He did react, but not all of them were able to get away. So that Purple Sun, well, Purple Sun, won't you come? He's able to tear those guys up. I don't know if that's worth the Winds of Magic. Had that been on a group of the Sisters of Averlorn, I think it would have been worth it, but on those guys, not so much. I mean, I guess it did kind of disrupt the initial missile formation here, and the Feasters in the Dusk, unfortunately for the Elves, have been revealed. Blood Knight's coming in for a major alpha strike, and you can also see the Kalab Nagash is going to be jumping in as well, but man, this formation is so good from Xiphos. Like, that's really the difference between like high-level players and newer players, is use kind of like very spread out formations like this. So the Blood Knights are going to be charging into the Unbraced Spearmen right there, getting a little bit of value, but for the most part, the Archers are doing very good. Burning down the Feasters, the Noble's going to be rushing out to intercept them, which is a bit of a bold strategy, Cotton. And now the Claw of Nagash is going to be zipping into the back line, but Xiphos is not going to be having this shit. He's going to be turning all of his fire onto the... And this is like, oh man, it's so hard to get the Claw of Nagash to work here. It's just going to get focused down so horribly by the High Elf Archers. You can see the Golems are going to be surging in as well. The frontline engagement pretty much underway, but this Claw of Nagash needs to get healed or pull back. I mean, it's just getting shreked. The Nobles can easily jump over there. Now, in the back line, it's going pretty good for Hadri's now. He did get back here onto some Lothran Seaguard, but he really needs to be charging the Sisters. Lothran Seaguard are pretty much designed to take a beating like this, and it looks like Invocation of Nehek has gone down onto the Claw of Nagash, but it's crumbling, and there's no way that thing's going to live, especially with the Noble nearby. So the Noble's going to be charging, and the Claw of Nagash is going to be going down super quick here. So brutal blow here for the Vampire Counts in the beginning of the game. Now there is some pressure here. You can see that on the other side, the Crypticals are going to be coming around the back, and the Graveguard are advancing in as well. But Xiphos just like pulls back and forces him into open field, shoots him with the missiles. It's really, really solid high play here. In the meantime, Manfred von Baldstein is going to be taking a fight right here, but this is disastrous here for Hadri's. He's in a 2v1 fight versus anti-large specialists like melee fighters. He used a Spirit Leech trying to keep in it, but Manfred is just getting his ass whooped here. The Blood Knights are going to be surging over, which is going to be quite helpful. And they're going to allow the King of Baldness to get away, but I just don't think there's enough pressure on the missiles in the back to really kind of get him back in this game. Blood Knights will do well here, yes, but the Blood Knights are also going to get focused down by the Sisters. Granted, I mean, the Feasters and these other troops have broken off these Lothran Seaguard, and if you can't shut down all the Sisters and these missile units, I mean, there could be kind of a case here for him to get back, but look at this fire. A net of Amtok coming down from Teclis right on top of Manfred, doing beautiful work, but look at that purple sun. Beautiful cast here by Hadri's, trying to get back into this game here. He's able to completely melt those guys, so that was a really good cast, but Manfred's going to be going down to the focus fire from the other Sisters, so wherever he gets value, I mean, man, he really should have just kept that Mortis Engine back. And Manfred just gets destroyed by these two Nobles, just crushing blow. The Blood Knights are going to be trying to follow up, but without his leadership, I don't think he's going to be able to win this game. Teclis and company, I think, are going to be able to endure, but I mean, the High Elves don't have much in the way of infantry. I mean, the Spearmen are losing on pretty much every front here. A couple of them are coming back, and the Black Coach is still going rampant, but without Manfred, man, that's going to be just a tough proposition. The Noble's going to be continuing to pressure here on top of these things, the Blood Knights, and I don't see him coming back. It's a good game. I think that Hadri's did a really good job trying to claw his way back in, despite his army, being a little bit tough against his composition. The Purple Suns were really good, got him some really good value, but the Mortis Engine getting killed like that, man, like bring the Mortis Engine like at this point in the game, like a little bit later, right? And from there, like it could generate some value once you're in the back line like this, but it's so easy to get impatient with that thing. And the Black Coach in the back is going to be getting killed by the Noble. There's no way that the Black Coach is going to be able to survive this. The Noble's going to kill it. I mean, there's Archer Fire coming in. Teclis could probably fight a Black Coach as well. And the Undead doing a good job getting back here, but they just don't have the sustainability. I mean, the High Elves don't have a whole lot left. They have a couple Spearmen, like some Lothran Seaguard, but it's just the leadership issue for the Undead is so tough. Manfred just getting gooned out like this, just so tough. I mean, Xiphos just on point this game, really brought the fury, but it's still, a 7 or 8 minute game. It's a has been a very close game. Both very well played to both players here. So Hadri's going to be charging in, trying to finish off the Sisters and company. Undead don't really have much left. The Vampire Counts are going to be rocking the Necromancers, some Angry Golems down here. The Feasters in the Dust doing pretty good, up to 40 kills against it's a tough battle with infantry. But the Spearmen are going to be able to finish those guys off. Nobles should be able to clean up pretty much everything here. There still are Graveguard, and are there any Sternsmen? Doesn't look like it. The Blood Knights are going to be going down here, which is going to be a huge blow for the Undead. I don't think there's any other units on the map that were forgotten. It doesn't look like it. Over on the edge of the map, the Sternsmen are actually here, so they're doing a pretty good job chasing off these troops. The Noble is going to be finishing off the Doggos. The Black Coach is still, going in deep, having a good time, but Nobles are pretty much designed to kill Black Coaches. Anti-large, they're fast, they have good mass, and you can see here the rest of the Vampire Counts forces of Hadri's are going to be crumbling. Blood Knights going down. Crypticals are going to be going down as well, and the Necromancer. Look, we have a Haggard Wizard duel. We have the Necromancer fighting against Teclis, but Teclis is probably much better. 38, 40, 280 against 25. More weapon strength on the Necromancer, believe it or not. Looked like his cane was a little bit more ferocious, but the combat stats of Teclis are just so much better. And the Necromancer are going to be getting dragged into open field, going to be trying to chase down Teclis here, but it's not going to be his day. And the great big Black Coach is going to be running over these Lothran Seaguard in the back and trying his best. And as is usually the case with the Vampire Counts, the Sternsmen are going to be the last unit standing here. And this big Black Coach going to be making its last charge. But Teclis coming in. This Wizard isn't messing around. And oh man, Teclis comes in and finishes off the Black Coach with a vengeance. And that is it. So man, brutal stuff from the Archers. I mean, Xiphos coming in, securing the series 2-1. So Xiphos is going to be advancing to the finals. He did actually drop the first game and came back and won the next two. So very well played to Xiphos. Climb back. I can tell you from experience playing in competitive events of any sort of event, whether it be sports or esports, as they say, it's always pretty tough when you lose the first game to come back. Like, it really takes discipline and focus, but he was able to come back and get that. So Zyphos is going to be advancing to the finals to face the winner of King of the Dead and Shetland Apache. So congratulations to Zyphos. We'll see you in the grand finals, and we'll let him know. GG. Zyphos, we'll see you in finals. See you later, Jason. Thanks again for dropping by. And we're going to be jumping over now, setting up the next one. So we shall go to the caster's desk, where we can hang out, and I can slowly start to wake up, because, man, I was up late. I was up to like 4 a.m. last night. It was pretty tough. All right, so let's go ahead and jump out of here. We're going to be jumping right into the next game, if the players are ready. Let us go ahead and refresh. And we're going to do it to it. I'm going to make sure. All right, guys. So we just got to update the scoreboard here. So in the finals here, this is the tablet. So for anyone who's just joining, the winners of these Eternal Challenger League qualifiers will be putting their names on the glorious tablet of Tehenwin. The 8 champions will be facing off in a grand finals just like last time, which is always a good time. And for today's bracket, we're going to be getting Zyphos moving on to the grand finals. And he's going to be facing off against the winner of King of the Dead and Shetland Apache. So now we're going to move back here. We have to update the scorecards a little bit. King is going to be going with the Tomb Kings, and he's going to be facing off against Shetland Apache's Dwarfs. So I do have to update the scorecard here. They're just on a mission. They got this battle started right away, so I'm going to have to do this. The mustache is a sight to behold for sure. It's something a little bit new, but you know what? We're having some fun. We're having some fun. Yeah, the stream, I think YouTube's having some issues. I noticed that we just had a pretty big drop in numbers, so I think it's pertaining to YouTube, which is kind of silly. So my apologies for that. Just keep refreshing it. It'll come back. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and update the scoreboard. So it's going to be, I have to see who's who first. Who's hosting? The commercials never lag. Of course they don't, yeah. You know, I actually just found out today that you can actually run ads like during streams. I did not know that. Like, I know on Twitch people used to do that. Like, it was kind of a common thing, but on YouTube I didn't think it was possible. But I've never actually run an ad on my stream. I kind of want to see what it plays for you guys. Like, if it plays something like ridiculous. All right. Volkmar the Grim should be jealous of this mustache. All right, so we got, yeah, I want to make sure I get it. I like to have it color-coded to the right people. Yeah, and my apologies, guys. YouTube is just being a shitlord as always. Just kind of causing problems. But you know what? We're going to persevere. You guys will be back, I'm sure. We'll push through this. It's going to be Dwarves versus Tomb Kings. This is a matchup I think that's very even, actually. I think Tomb Kings have some really good tools in the constructs, but Dwarves have good answers in Slayers and Guns. So it's very, very solid for sure. Yeah, I just noticed, actually, there was a drop in, like, we had lost like 300 or 400 people, so it's a little bit unfortunate. Hopefully most of those folks can make it back. If I get Ungrim, I will donate immediately, says Major Moolah. Well, with a name like Major Moolah, you know, that makes sense. Had some freezing screen action myself. Let me go ahead and double check if it's my end. So, yeah, so it looks like King of the Dead is going to be the yellow player. So we're going to update the scorecard here. We're going to have to do this on the spot because they started real quick. We're just going to give him the abbreviated version. And Shetland. Get the scorecard here. Normally I try and like do it behind the scenes, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to do things live. Got to do it live. All right, and we're back. Welcome, guys. Welcome back. My apologies for the trouble with the stream. Let me go ahead and double check if it was my end. So I have like no dropped frames, so it was YouTube. YouTube's just being a dick. All right, guys. So for the build of King of the Dead, so most of you guys I'm sure know King of the Dead from the Ever-Chosen Invitational. Did really well, actually. Got third place in that with some very intense games versus Aerocastic in the end. And yeah, very serious player. I mean, he's played best of 7 against some of the best players and can beat anyone. He's a very, very good player here. So let's go and take a look at the army. So Shopti Great Bows, he does have the Chosen of the Gods, which are quite good against Dwarves, very vulnerable against cannon play and things like that, but going to be good against the infantry. For the main core, he's got Tomb Guard here, so going pretty elite Skeleton Warriors to support, and it looks like each group of Skeleton Warriors is going to be supported by a couple of Shopti. So he does have 3 of the Shopti here. He's got some carrying up in the skies, and yeah, 2 carrying in total, and it looks like it's going to be Arc in the Black. Lore of Death is very good against Dwarves. Purple Sun can do a ton of damage against blobs. Spirit Leech is pretty good against, you know, characters and stuff like that. Tomb Blade of Arkin, and that is pretty much it. So King of the Dead with a very solid army. He's got Chariots, which are the bane of the Dwarves, who's Shopti coming in, and he's ready to party. So for the Dawi, Shetland Apache going for a pretty tight formation. Normally you do see Dwarves very spread out with like a ton of Thunders and things like that, but it looks like Shetland might play them a little bit differently or have his own theory about that. So the High King Thorgrim coming in. Man, I haven't seen this guy in forever. So Thorgrim, I believe, did get some buffs in this patch, and he's on his mount here. Man, this is what a hero. Shetland Apache is a true hero. Coming in, getting Thorgrim Grudgebearer. This is beautiful stuff. I love it. On top of that, we got 2 runesmiths. So we got 1, 2 here. They're going to be popping the Rune of Negation and Rune of Wrath and Ruin. He's got 2 bolt throwers, hammers in the back. So the Peak Gate Guard, Dragonback Slayers, Longbeards with great weapons, standard Longbeards, as well as Bugman's Ranger. So a very strange dwarf build from Shetland Apache, but it's very much like a Death Star, but I don't know. We're going to see how it goes. I'm really excited for this, actually. Man, Shetland Apache, what a hero. So, King of the Dead representing his main faction. Both players actually playing their main factions right now. I'm pretty sure that Shetland Apache is a dwarf main. So he's going to be playing dwarves. King of the Dead is a Tomb King main. Very good at all the undead factions, as his name would infer. But fun tip about or fun trivia about King of the Dead. He was actually, his name was King of the Dead before Total War Warhammer ever came out. So it's just happened to be a coincidence that he just likes all the undead factions. Well, I guess it makes sense. So the Bolt Throwers are going to be trading into the Chosen of the Gods very efficiently. Bolt Throwers are pretty well designed to deal with troops like this. And you can see the Chosen of the Gods are going to be taking some decent damage here. And I mean, 3 or 4 more volleys, they're going to start losing models here. And it's going to be a good situation for the Dwarves. So far, Shetland Apache's in good shape, but I mean, is he really going to be able to defend against all this? I mean, there's a lot of pressure, guys. There's a Skeleton Horseman. There's these chariots coming in. Ark in the Black's going to be dropping skeletons here. It is going to be a grindy fight for sure. So the Carrion swooping in to attack the Bolt Thrower, the Hammers. Looks like he does also have the Peak Gate Guard. So man, a lot of units that you almost never see. So the Peak Gate Guard going to be surging forward to attack these Carrion right here, which is going to be quite good. And the Ushapti are shooting in on top of the Peak Gate Guard. Chariots are going to be coming into these Bugman's Rangers in the front line, which is it's bold strategy caught using these guys in the front, but I mean, at the very least, they are somewhat tanky. Bolt Throwers here are going to be taking a little bit of damage from the Carrion, and it looks like Shetland Apache is going to be sending forward his reserves to kind of hold the line. Now, he has killed one group of the Carrion here. He hasn't taken too much damage, and the Dwarves are actually doing pretty good. They're bolting down the Chosen of the Gods in the back, and the High King Thorgrim is actually going to be really tough to kill here, especially with all these elite troops, and it looks like Ark in the Black did also drop some skeletons back here, but the Dwarven Hammers should be able to shut those guys down pretty quick. Ark in the Black going to be coming in and cackling, and oh no, a Purple Sun's coming in right on top of the Peak Gate Guard. Oh, this is going to be so tough. Shetland Apache's running away, and it looks like he's able to get away for the most part. He does get knocked into it a little bit, the Skeleton Horseman in the back riding into those Dwarf Peak Gate Guard. But the bounce bar is pretty even. I wouldn't say anyone's in a clear state of advantage, but the Chosen of the Gods are in pretty good shape now. I mean, most of the Dwarven Bolt Throwers are very tattered. I mean, these ones are still going to be firing at full capacity, as are these ones. No, actually, it looks like one of the Bolt Thrower crews here, he had 3 in total, actually. I thought it was only 2. So one of them is offline. Ark in the Black just going to be charging into these Longbeards, who do actually have charge defense, which is quite good. High King Thorgrim and the Runesmiths just going to be kind of surging in the front line, trying to protect things. And it looks like the Tomb Kings have gotten some pretty good early damage if we take a big overhead look at the Dwarves unintentionally because of that rock lip up there. Ooh, the Chariots are going to be coming around the back. That's going to be a lot of pressure. I mean, Chariots running into Hammers and these troops without charge defense is going to be really tough. And it looks like the Rune of Negation is going to be popped. And Shetland Apache basically just has a Death Star here, but the Tomb Kings, if they're able to shut down the artillery pieces, those Great Bows are pretty much just going to be able to go to pound town. So, King of the Dead going to be jumping around the back and just going to be swooping in here, probably trying to jump on top of the Bolt Throwers here. Hammers are actually facing the wrong direction, so they could be taking some damage. Runes of Wrath and Ruin going down in the front line against the Tomb Guard. And the Chariots are going to be trying to charge in here, but I mean, these are some elite Dwarf troops, and the High King buff is very, very strong. I believe it did get changed, so it's quite a bit better than it used to be. The Hammers are going to be surging into these Chariots here, which is going to be really bad for the Chariots. They didn't get a good charge here, so they're going to be getting hammered pretty good. And the Dwarves are holding the front line. The Grumbling Guard with stand your ground. High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer is going to be giving all those buffs here. He's on his big old throne. And he's going to be clubbing these guys, just getting absolutely prone. So let's go ahead and take a look at the High King buff. So the High King buff, Book of Grudges, and does he have it? Looks like Oath of Vengeance. So High King is going to be hit points greater than 50% base. Map wide, wow, 8 melee attack. That's really good. So the whole Dwarf army gets a pretty good buff from that. So the Purple Sun is going to be dropping in the back on the Dwarves again, doing a little bit of damage, but the Dawi are holding pretty firm. Hammers should be able to cut through all these troops pretty well. Ark in the Black, though, doing beautiful work in the back line. So you can see here that King of the Dead was able to pretty much shut down all the Bolt Throwers. This one's dead, this one's shattered. The other one is still online and still shooting. And it looks like they might be able to actually crumble the Chosen of the Gods if they keep shooting. But this Death Star, I think, is going to slightly favor the Dawi. But there still are Ushapti here. And you can see the Libra Mortis has gone down, which is going to be buffing all these troops. But, High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer, if there's anything he's really good at, it's grinding out Death Star battles. You can see in the meantime, the Skeleton Chariots are very, very beat up. And it looks like the Ushapti summon is going to be getting dropped in the back, which is a good choice. You need to kill this Bolt Thrower. It's the only thing that's really threatening the Chosen of the Gods. And, without any ranged tools, the Dwarves are just going to be at the mercy of the Chosen if the Tomb Kings decide to disengage. So the Ushapti summon back here are going to be crumping these guys, just doing a ton of damage. You can see these poor Dwarves getting cut to shreds by the Ushapti. But the front line, I mean, the Ushapti here not having a good time versus the Hammers. High King Thorgrim is just going deep. I mean, he's writing, just scribbling names in his Book of Grudges right now. He's just having an absolutely good time. And yeah, he's got the Rune of Negation going down. The double Runesmith is going to be super tough to kill as well. This is a really cool build from Shetland Apache. Like, I wouldn't expect it to work just looking at it, but it seems like it's working pretty well against the Tomb Kings. I mean, there's no Tomb Scorpions or things that can really cut through this. I mean, Ushopti can do an okay job, but they're not like super beefy. So the Rune of Negation again being stacked here. High King Thorgrim going to be benefiting from that as well. The Tomb Kings back line, or not Tomb Kings, but the Dwarf back line pretty much all gone. The Chariots have been able to clean that up. Ark of the Black is just cackling back here. The Peak Gate Guard in a 2v1 fight doing very well. Up to 130 kills. So they've pretty much been able to kill these skeletons and these Tomb Guard and these other troops here, but the Chariots are going to be slamming into the back. So here they come. And yeah, the Peak Gate Guard probably going to be finished off here by Ark of the Black and the Chariot Goon Squad. So, balance of power is pretty even still. It's a very, very close game. Longbeards with Great Weapons, Dragonback Slayers, all these guys are going to be fighting to the bitter end. Is Thorgrim and company, are they going to be able to endure this? I mean, they're fully surrounded. This is like straight up Game of Thrones, Battle of the Bastards. And yeah, we're going to see if Thorgrim can kind of claw his way out of the pits here. He's very, very tough to kill. The Runesmiths are pretty tanky as well. They all have like 120 armor against like Tomb Guard and Skeleton Warriors. I mean, there's like barely any AP left. And if Shetland Apache can maybe kill the AP of the Tomb Guard, or of the Tomb Kings, I mean, might be able to pull something crazy out here. Now, there are some Bolt Thrower crews coming back in the distance. We have 5 right here, but I don't think that King of the Dead is going to let that happen. He's basically just methodically killing the back line. The Chariots are just going to be running through here. And my only concern for the Dwarves is going to be the cycle charging, because, you know, the Dwarves, even if they kill all of this, they're still going to have to deal with 2 Chariots plus Ark in the Black. But Thorgrim has really good mass. You can't really cycle charge him. He's just going to be able to take it like an absolute beast and then just beat them down to a huge club. The Hammers here are getting a little bit shaken up. Ushopti are crumbling. Both armies are very much on the edge and are tatters, or in tatters at this point. The Grumbling Guard are going to be wavering, and it looks like the Dragonback Slayers are still fighting relatively well. They have 37 models left, which is quite good. If they're able to survive this pit fight, that is going to be really, really tough for the Tomb King. So a very, very close fight. And the Chariots here are going to be going out in the distance. Some Hammers, these brave Dawi are going to be trying to charge the Chosen of the Gods. And they have 12 models left. The Chariots probably going to be able to pick those guys off, and they break. Yeah, they deserve to go home and rest after their fighting. They did a really good job. So over here, the Thorgrim Grudgebearer and the Runesmiths able to kind of clean up shop. There's not really any Dwarf Infantry left, aside from the Slayers. And the Chariots are going to be coming back in and just cycle charging. But the bounce power, like I said, still really even. I mean, this is a lot of power for the Dwarves. Skeleton Warriors, all these guys are crumbling, basically. Skeleton Warriors critical, these guys are crumbling, these guys are in bad shape as well. He's probably out of Runes of Wrath and Ruin at this point. And another really, really good Spirit Leech coming down from Ark of the Black on top of that Runesmith. So if King of the Dead can actually jump on top of the Runesmith and finish him off and push him away from the army, I think that Thorgrim probably won't be able to hold this on his own. But the bounce power is still, dead even. I mean, maybe even a little bit in the favor of the Dwarves. The Slayers are doing a really good job. These guys are just beasts. Rune of Negation making them a little bit tougher than they usually are. Their melee defense is very high because of Thorgrim. And yeah, the Tomb Kings here are crumbling. Skeleton Warriors, the Oath of Vengeance has gone down, putting the melee defense of these guys to a whopping 0, which is quite an accomplishment. Chosen of the Gods have piled in and are starting to beat on Thorgrim, but guys, Thorgrim has like 5,000 HP. He is meaty, and he is thick. I mean, if it's just Chariots versus Thorgrim will win that all day. I mean, he's going to be able to take a beating like a boss. I mean, Thorgrim is very, very tanky. The Runesmiths here are doing a pretty good job, just killing the Tomb Guard. Tomb Guard here are all but dead, and it looks like there's going to be the Longbeards with Great Weapons coming back in, as well as the Peak Gate Guard. They got 7 models. And the Tomb King's Chariots, we got 5 models right here. I don't know, I feel like the Dwarfs might pull this one out, the Dawi with the Thorgrim build. It was such a weird build, too. It was like all these elite troops, which you normally don't think you need elite troops against the Tomb Kings, but the Hammers were actually able to kill the Ushopti pretty efficiently, but the Chariots are still just causing destruction in the back line. These guys are just riding through the Dwarves, and pretty much any Dwarves that do try and come back and help are being cleaned up, which is very much a sign of a good player. Like, if there's like a long, grindy battle like this, you have the mobility advantage. You always want to be taking out troops as they come back and prevent them from getting a little bit too crunk. So the Staff of Nagash has been going down. Rune of Wrath and Ruin was dropped in Ark in the Black, and yeah, man, these Ushopti are not going to be able to do anything. They're just going to get killed. I mean, the Chosen of the Gods have pretty good, AP, but their melee attack's pretty low, and Thorgrim is just 62 melee defense. He's a rock-hard, angry Dwarf Lord. So he's going to be coming in with his hammer, just clubbing these guys. He's got Slayers helping him out. He's got Runesmiths. This is a pretty epic shot here. You have this, like, last stand of Dwarves, just with, like, double Runesmiths, just supporting the High King. Slayers fighting tooth and nail against these Ushopti. It is just beautiful stuff. So, I don't know. They were talking a little smack before the game. King of the Dead said the Dwarf blood will run red here in the desert, but I don't know. The Dwarves are making him pay for every Dwarf life is being, paid back with multiple Tomb Kings. So the Chosen of the Gods and these other troops here are going to be crumbling. And now it's just going to be cycle charging, which I don't think is going to matter. Thorgrim is so good against cycle charging, so what an X factor. The bounce power is now going in the favor of the Dawi. And we're going to see if Shetland Apache can kind of make his way through to the finals here. But again, this is just the first game, so it is a best of 3 between these two. So here come the Chariots. Thorgrim's like, come at me, dude. Yeah, I'm ready for this. So he's just going to march in. And some of the other dwarves will be clubbed, but look at the mass on Thorgrim. He's able to single-handedly stop this entire blob. Slayer's coming in as well. Chariots are going to be taking damage from dragging back Slayer. So beautiful stuff. Thorgrim leads the charge, crumps a couple chariots right there. He breaks their charge, and then the other dwarves are able to drag these guys down, which is just so nasty. And look at this. The Oath of Vengeance has been popped on these guys. How heavy metal is that? They're at 2 melee defense right now. Oh, and the chariot gets clubbed down as it tries to retreat. They're going to be going after the Longbeards here. You can see that Ark in the Black is going to be trying to polish off and get value wherever he can, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, Dragonback Slayer's just like headbutting him. I mean, the Rune Lords are coming in. It looks like he got a little bit caught up on those units there, but Rune of Wrath and Ruin going down right here. And you can also see the Skeleton Chariots are just going to be getting crumped on by the Dwarves. And man, satisfy the grudge. Oh man, Longbeard charge, the brave Dawi. I know, watching you guys love a Dwarf victory. I mean, who doesn't love a Dwarf victory? So right here, the Skeleton Chariots are crumbling. It's basically just going to be Ark in the Black at this point. There's no way Arkin can beat Thorgrim, like 0% chance. So at this point, yeah, they're just saying good luck, have fun to one another. Now Ark in the Black does get a Skeleton summon, which is going to buy him a little bit of time to maybe do something, but I just don't think it's going to matter. I think the Dwarves are just going to be able to grind this one out. So man, we've had some crazy games. We've had some crazy games today for sure. What can the mummies do against such reckless hate? Yeah, what a game. Oh yeah, we'll have Dov here in the Eternal Challenger League, don't you worry, whenever he wants to. There's going to be 8 weeks, so we're going to have a lot of time. So, you know, Ark in the Black doing his thing. Summon Skeletons are going to be holding the line for sure, but I mean, King of the Dead trying his best to scrap. If he could actually break off a Runesmith and slowly pick them apart, maybe, but Ark in the Black is just nowhere near Thorgrim's strength of the duelist. Thorgrim's going to be able to just beast mode him, like 100%. I appreciate the determination here from King of the Dead, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Thorgrim's going to be able to just crump him. But I mean, look at these drive-bys. They're actually doing a ton of damage against this Runesmith. These skeletons are pretty much crumbled, so due to the new summoning changes, they're going to be disappearing soon because of the unbinding. So they last 77 seconds. So just, you know, around a minute, 10 seconds, give or take. So 17. But yeah, Ark in the Black going to be charging back in. Going to be getting some damage here onto the Dwarf Rune Lord, but Thorgrim's got a bone to pick with him. He's going to be taking some attacks. Oath of Vengeance going down. Ooh, that's going to be tough for Arkin. He's going to take a couple big hits here before he's able to get away. Skeletons crumble out because of the summoning change. And you can see here that Ark in the Black going to be going deep into the night. And with that, Shetland Apache taking game 1 with the fury of the Dawi Legion. He's able to defeat the Tomb Kings and drive them back to the desert. Man, Thorgrim Grudgebearer, what a beast. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Thorgrim just going crunk. I haven't seen a Thorgrim game in like months. So that's going to be game 1 for Shetland Apache. But guys, King of the Dead is going to be coming back with a vengeance. And we're going to see what these guys pick in the next game here. Let's get the blocker up. And we'll get back to the lobby here. GG. Game 2. That was a crazy build. Looking at Shetland's build, I was like, how is this going to work with all the hammers? But man, it was quite stalwart. Imagine that a commander put his artillery behind his infantry. Yeah. Oh man. That was a great game. That was a really good game. That's a fudging. So, King of the Dead, probably going to be going to another undead faction, I would imagine. We're going to see what Shetland Apache picks. Typically, we don't let players pick the same race twice unless they both agree on it and they decide they want to do that. Then I'll make an exception. But Eshin next. Can you please show me? Yes, we're on Eshin. Eshin's a good map. It has some nice Vanguard, some other fun options. The Dragback Slayer was a beast. Yeah, they fought to the bitter end that game. One more name crossed from the Book of Grudges. Yes. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Grudges have been struck out this day, my friends. Yeah, guys, thanks for joining today. Shetland Apache going to be going with Tomb Kings. He's going to see if he can show King of the Dead how it's done with the Tomb Kings. But King of the Dead, maybe Vampire Coast. I couldn't see him picking Vampire Coast here. He really is quite good with them. Okay, so Shetland Apache bans the Vampire accounts, and he picks Tomb Kings. And we're going to see what King of the Dead picks. I'm surprised. I feel like that matchup isn't that bad. But again, certain players are comfortable with different things. So certain things are always that way. Should have gone full shooty circus with the Tomb Kings. Yeah, I mean, you could have. But the tough part about that is like Dwarven bolt throwers trade super efficiently, and so do cannons. So if you try and like outshoot the Dwarves and they bring like a cannon and a bolt thrower, or like 2 bolt throwers and a cannon, you're just going to get shreked. So it's a little bit tough. I think he went the right direction with his build. Oh, and King of the Dead going to be going with Lizardmen. Hell yeah, we get some new DLC stuff. This is going to be fun. This is going to be great. So if you guys are curious about the specs of my PC, they're all actually in the description of my YouTube channel. So if you just go to my YouTube channel and go to the About section, you're going to be able to see all the specs for my PC. But the great book remains full. In my years as High King, our enemies thought us weak. Fools. Oh, it's so badass. Thorgrim is so cool. God, I was so excited the first time I saw the Dwarf trailer. And that one moment when Thorgrim's like, let them come. And then just like the cannons just open up. It's like, oh, like, it was so epic. Yeah, that was a great game. Great stuff there from Shetland, Apache, and King of the Dead. It was a good fight, but I'm quite curious what King is going to be bringing. I know with Lizardman, he has a particular build he really likes. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want it to be spoiled, but he uses very strange units. Oh, man. Salamanders are really good against Tomb Kings, actually. They're really good. I mean, the anti-large is amazing. They can really chip. They can, like, just burn down Ushapti. They can burn down Great Bows. Like, they're really, really good. Thorgrim be like, witness me. So, Christopher, to answer your question regarding rules, there's a set of rules that were created by some of the top multiplayer guys, and basically they just limit certain things. So you can only have like 3 single entities, so you can't spam like 30 dinosaurs, right? Like there's limits on single entities. There's limits on specific units. Like you can only have like 6 of the same unit, so you can't like spam like 30 of the same unit. Like there's just stuff like that for the most part. Yeah, my apologies for YouTube. I don't know what's going on with it. It's just being a shit today. But don't worry, if you guys miss anything, it'll be up after the fact, and hopefully it'll be in good quality, and YouTube will at least be able to post it. Just refresh the stream if you're having problems. King of the Dead playing Lizardman. So Dob plays with a great point right here. He says King of the Dead is playing Lizardman, and there's only one dead lizard. So are we going to see Croak? Well, that is the great conspiracy of our time. We're going to find out here in the next episode, and let us go ahead and get rid of the bracket. And it's showtime. Here we go. Going to be on Eshin. And Tough, thank you for the $2.99. You're the GOAT of Warhammer. You're the GOAT Warhammer YouTuber. Thank you, man. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I've never held that opinion myself, but I certainly do appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, there's not... Yeah. I'm trying to think if he's going to bring Croak here. Thank you so much, man, for the donation. I really do appreciate it. Means a lot, man. Keeps this old man going. I look forward to casting Warhammer for years to come. I'm really glad that we have Warhammer 3 to look forward to, for sure. The last Dragonback Slayer. I removed the blocker. We're good. Don't worry, guys. I got you covered. And for the armies of King of the Dead. So up on the high ground, we're going to see a Slime Mage Priest with high magic. So we're going to see Apotheosis and Arcane and Forging, looking to shut down the magic of the Tomb Kings. And we got double Velociraptor Lords. So we do have the Saurus Scar veterans on Velociraptors. They're great versus constructs. Bonus versus large. They hit hard. They also have the support of Apotheosis to heal them. So it's going to be quite strong. For the front line, it's going to be mostly Saurus, a couple skink cohorts on the flanks. And we do have the Umbral Tide. So the Umbral Tide are the ROR of the Salamander hunting packs. Then they're very good against Tomb Kings, because Tomb Kings often will bring your Ushapti Greatbow in this matchup. And these guys do have stock. Therefore, the Ushapti Greatbow aren't really going to be able to see them until it's too late. So the Salamander is going to be coming in the deep here. Cold One Spear Riders in the back, and it looks like he does have a Vanguard as well. He does have the Colossodon Hunter. So these guys... probably one of the hardest hitting anti-large units in the entire game. Very, they're relatively squishy, but nonetheless, these guys can still wreck any construct. If you actually have them duel head-to-head against a Necrosphinx, they do win in an open field fight. So these guys are monsters, but very squishy. Skeleton Spears or anything else can pretty much kill them. Now for the front line of Shetland Apache, we got Tomb Kings. We have Tomb Kings in the front line. It's going to be Skeleton Warriors across the entire front line. 2 groups of Chariots as well. So these are going to be Skeleton Chariots. Very good against Saurus and Skink, so I think that's a great inclusion. Skeleton Horseman Archers. He does have Cetra up on the War Sphinx, which he pretty much brings, like, every time I've seen him play Tomb Kings, he always brings Cetra. And he has 2 of the Nehekar Horsemen. Oh, but look at this in the back. King of the Dead with the Pak cohort in the Vanguard deployment. So going to be getting a little bit sneaky there. A little bit sneaky, Bob. But yeah, very much an infantry army. Not too many constructs, so we're going to see if the anti-large of the Lizardmen is going to be useful. But nonetheless, I mean, they still have the Salamanders, and Saurus are very, very good against Tomb King's infantry. So Skeleton Horseman Archers, going to be taking some freebies here into the Saurus Warriors with shields. So far, it's going pretty good. It's pretty yummy tea, by the way, and I got some really good tea that I'm enjoying quite a bit. Yeah, I don't think the Ark of Zotek is a very good unit. I think it's a little bit overcosted for what it does. And it's just not that good. It's just basically like a Bastillodon with like a decent kind of mediocre ability. So Colossodon Hunter is going to be patrolling the back line. The Umbral Tide is going to be scooting forward as well, and the Saurus Warriors with shields also looking for the goodies. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a close fight. I would imagine just based on builds. I like that Shetland Apache went super wide, but look at this in the back. This is really unfortunate. This could actually cost King of the Dead the game. The Pot cohort in the back gets isolated. Setcher just comes back here balls deep with his goon squad. Nedikar Horseman coming back here. The cohort's going to be trying to get a charge into these Nedikar Horsemen to at least get some value, and they will. But for King of the Dead to make sure this is like not a complete waste, he should just kind of bum rush the front line. Oh, man, that is a huge loss to take right now. I mean, Pot cohort is very expensive. As far as gold gained, I mean, they probably killed about 200 gold off these Nedikar Horsemen, and they're not going to get too much more. They're just going to be probably pushed off the battlefield. I believe they're immune to psychology. Yeah, they are. So they're going to fight to the bitter end, but nonetheless, it is not a good situation for them because the edge of the map's right here. That was a really, really bold strategy and did not pay off. So Shetland Apache's on point today. He was watching. The Pot cohort going to be getting chased off the battlefield here. We're going to see if King of the Dead can get it back elsewhere. It looks like he was trying to get a charge here on the Skeleton Chariots, but that is a really rough loss. So basically now he's playing down at a deficit of about 800 gold because he did get some value, but nonetheless it was not worth it at all. I mean, yeah, like half health loss from Nedikar Horseman. But I mean, he does have some really good gooning potential. If the Sora Scar veterans and company are able to jump on Cetra and finish him off, I mean, that could be a pretty quick game here. And the mage with what flavor is this? It's the orange lawn. Orange sherbet? Yeah, it's orange sherbet lawn. Arcane and Forging will be pretty good against Cetra, for sure. So he has a lot of like burst and sniping potential, but nonetheless, it's these chariots are just going to be able to kind of pick him apart. And Shetland Apache is just kind of pulling him about right now. And you can see here the Colossodon Hunters are going to be jumping on these Skeleton Horsemen. They'll kill him super quick, but look at this. There's going to be some Overwatch fire coming in from Skeleton Horsemen Archers here, which is going to be very good against the squishy Pterodon Riders right there, or Ripperdactyl Riders, I should say. But Skeleton Horsemen taking a little bit of a beating. Colossodon Hunters are in okay shape, so they're able to kind of stabilize that situation and finish those guys off. And the little skink cohorts are going to be, trying to fight Skeleton Horsemen Archers. They will be taking a fat charge to the face, but they'll actually be able to do some damage back, unless they break. They might actually break here. It's hard to say. Looks like they're going to be okay. No big fights yet. The Tomb Kings are going to be surging forward here with their halberds and some of these other troops, and the Saurus with shields are going to be rushing forward to meet them. So you can see here, these guys are just going to be pulling back. Shetland doing a really good job just not giving him the fights that he wants. The Saurus here are going to be beating down some of the Nedikar warriors, which is quite good. And I think those Skeleton Horsemen did get away, so Shetland Apache doing a really good job just kind of controlling the battlefield right now. And Cetra is now going to be coming down here. There's not too much to stop him. There's going to be a big sandwiching charge coming in with the Nedikar Horsemen. Cetra just getting in there, just, oh man, so much damage, just brutal stuff. Nedikar Horsemen coming in with another charge right here, so just beautiful isolation tactics here by the Tomb Kings. Saurus is going to be fighting against these guys, trying their best. The Saurus Scar veteran is going to be jumping back in, and it looks like the Umbral Tide is still online, but I mean, looks like they might actually be getting swamped a little bit here. Not able to kind of really get online and fire, but for the first time, I think the Umbral Tide is going to be shooting, going to be going after Cetra, and looks like they're making okay contact. Now, this is what could potentially cost Shetland Apache the game. If somehow Cetra the Imperishable gets taken down by the Colossodon Hunters, that would be an absolute disaster. So right here, the fight is on. The Salamanders in the back are going to be shooting at Nedikar Horsemen. The Colon Spear Riders are going to be coming in. So this is a pretty bad situation for Shetland Apache. So where the game was going very, very well for him initially, I think that this might be the chance for the Dinos to get back in here because Arcane and Forging's going down. He's not able to cast any supporting magic. The Saurus Scarvats are really burning him down. Colossodon Hunters are just going to be mowing him down. But look at this. Shetland Apache, yeah, I think that was the right choice, going after the Umbral Tide right there and shutting those guys down. But the Saurus everywhere else are having some really big problems. The Skeleton Chariots are just doing an amazing job running through those guys. But Cetra's at half health. He's getting very, very low here, guys. He's in some serious trouble. Over here, Saurus Warriors are going to be able to beat down those two Horseman units if they stay in sustained combat. And Cetra just is not able to get away from this. I mean, Narrow's Incantation and Protection does go down again. Colossodon Hunters have popped the Toad Rage, which is a little bit tricky because they are going to rampage into other targets. And you can see here that the Saurus Scar veteran is going to be going after the appropriate target. Now in the back, the Tomb Kings are doing pretty well in every aspect of the fight with the exception of the leadership fight. If Cetra the Imperishable dies, I don't think there's going to be any way this Tomb King army can win, especially with the Salamanders able to kind of kite. And look at that fire coming in. The Umbral Tide getting some huge damage, but here you can see Shetland Apache is aware of this, and he's going to be sending in Skeleton Horsemen and these other troops to try and shut down the Umbral Tide. And it doesn't take much to shut down Salamanders. They have pretty low melee defense, so that's going to be a pretty good little trade right there. And the Colossodon Hunters up in the sky just trying their best to get on top of the Cetra here. The Cetra. And you can see the Umbral Tide in some serious trouble, just getting melted. I mean, like I said, really low melee defense. They die extremely quickly. And the Colossodon Hunters really going to have their backs. Their backs are going to be hurting by the time this game's over if they do indeed win this. The Orange Sherbet Slan's going to be jumping in as well. Saurus Scarvets are in, pretty much perfect health. So, I mean, the leadership fight, very, very good for the Dinos. But aside from that, their infantry are just pretty much non-existent. We have a couple Skinks fighting over here. These Saurus are still fighting, but they're probably going to be doomed. Arcane and Forging, very, very good DPS on that. It hits really hard. It's quite a bit stronger than Spirit Leech in terms of its overall damage output, I think. But it does cost 16 ones of magic, so a little bit tricky there. Colossodon Hunters need to get onto him, though. I mean, Cetra the Imperishable, he's an open field right now. He's a pretty juicy target, but it looks like King of the Dead playing a more patient game, so maybe he knows better than I do. You can see here he's going to be trying to secure his back line a little bit, maybe free up the salamanders, because Umbral Tide's actually back online. These lizard boys are here, but yeah, Netcar Horseman will kill them very, very easily. So, Sara Scarvet's going to be jumping over here, going to be jumping on top of essentially the Imperishable. They have a pretty good line of sight, but again, you can see here that Shetland Apache does have a screen. He has chariots, he has halberds that he can fall back on, and he is able to get that beautiful screen in place, which is going to buy him quite some time. And we haven't seen the Ushapti summon yet, I don't think. If we look around the battlefield, I'm not seeing it. Cetra is going to be dropping the buffs right there, or I should say his the shield of the, or not Cetra, the Slann. The Slann's going to be dropping shield of the old ones to kind of buff up. I always get it confused with like Libra Mortis. It looks pretty much the exact same. But this is really bad. Shetland Apache actually gets caught in open field here with Cetra the Imperishable. Nero's Incantation of Protection does get popped. 44% is pretty fat. But nonetheless, these guys do have anti-large. They have good AP. And the Colossadon Hunters are going to be coming in with the steel chair. They get a huge pin on top of this guy. A huge, huge pin. But it looks like, why did they not commit to that? Man, they could have killed him right there. So the Sora Scar veterans need to pull up and around. It looks like these guys are going to be getting healed with Apotheosis, which is going to be quite nice. And Ushapti Summon is going to be going down to the back. So this is really good. It looks like King of the Dead might be able to push through here, but Shetland Apache gets the Ushapti Summon, so he might be able to actually pin them in place. But it looks like the Slann is going to be dropping a fat banishment. So very, very beautiful play here by King. Ooh, that banishment is nasty. Doing so much damage against King to catch the Scorpion Legion and the Halberds. So very, very good value there. And you can see here that Cetra, is he going to be going down? Man, he is solo 809 HP. The Sherbert Slann might be able to actually drop an Arcane and Forging on him, which I think would be pretty good. But Cetra might be able to actually just kill him outright. I mean, the Slans are not good fighters. 24, 32, 320. 45 armor, not going to be helping him much against anything here. And the Colossadon Hunter is a little bit tagged up here. They need to get back up in the skies and re-engage. And they're going to be jumping on Cetra. Cetra is very, very low, 510 HP. It doesn't look like they're attacking him, and it looks like they do turn an attack there. He's at negative 18. He's crumbling. Oh, man, this is so close. What a game between these two players here. And you can actually see that Shetland Apache does pull ahead on the bounce of power. Just his grinding attrition here, just getting through this Lizardman army. And this is pretty bad. I mean, having the Sora Scar veterans just get surrounded and killed like this is, it's nasty. These Ushapti don't have much longer, though. They are a summon unit, of course, so they are going to be suffering from Unbinding, which is the new nerf to summons, which is definitely quite good. I think it's very good for balance. And the Colossadon Hunters are just being torn to shreds by, Tomb Guard and just Skeleton Warriors and things like that. They're going to be making one last swoop here on Cetra. But Cetra, he doesn't serve, he rules. And it looks like he might be ruling till the end of this game here. He's going to be going after the Slann, who does have the shield of the old ones, but I don't know if that's going to be able to keep him alive. But it looks like Cetra, he serves a little bit. He fell off his steed here, but it wasn't without a cause here. And you can see here that the Tomb Kings are going to be getting a full surround, and the Lizardmen are pretty much done for. So wow, Shetland Apache is going to be facing off against Xiphos in the finals here. Looks like King of the Dead was eliminated, had some pretty cool builds, but losing the Pak-Hopax cohort early in the game, I think cost him the game. Had King of the Dead had the Pak-Hopax cohort with his main army, I'm pretty sure he would have been able to hold off the chariots. Having that extra elite anti-large unit would have been so useful. But really unfortunate that he did lose those guys early in the Vanguard. But he took a gamble and he did pay the price. So over here, he's trying to claw his way back into the game here. The Colossadon Hunter should be able to do some okay damage here. It looks like they do pop the Toad Rage, which makes them pretty insane. 186 in terms of damage output. But the Slann Mage here, going to be rolling in the deep and just going to be getting cut to shreds by the hordes, like just dragged down. Sora Scar veterans are surrounded by halberds. The other Sora Scar veterans getting poked by halberds as well. And it's only a matter of time before Shetland Apache moves on to the finals to face Xiphos to find out who will be the first qualifier of the Eternal Challenger League Season 2. So well played. Well played. That was a great game. This league always brings out the best of them, right? The best of these players here. So Shetland Apache going to be winning the series 2-0. Winning with the Dwarfs and then with the Tomb Kings against King of the Dead. Yeah, both players played great. It was a good game. King of the Dead did a super good job. Like, if he hadn't lost the Pak-Hopax cohort, I think he would have been in pretty good shape. But losing those guys in the beginning was just too much, I think. Cetra. Cetra does not serve, therefore he cannot play tennis. I like that. That's pretty good. Oh no, game don't crash. Well, now's an okay time to crash anyways. If it is going to crash. Yes. So on that note, let's go ahead and update the bracket here. So we're going to be moving Shetland Apache over to the finals. We'll make his name bigger. Now that, yes, there you go. We can match Xiphos. We got to fit it on the scorecard though. He's going to be facing off against Xiphos here. And let's go ahead and close the game. Come on. Come on, Soda War. I got to go to my task manager and crash this real quick. Sometimes, like when people leave the game, like before like I jump back in, it'll cause problems. But we're just going to fire it back up here real quick. So yeah, Shetland Apache facing off against Xiphos here in the final. We're going to go back to the caster's desk. By that, I mean my bedroom, which smells of Wookiee. Oh, man. We're getting there. Netcar Horseman did really, really good, man. Those things were beastly this game. Cetra did great. Cetra did a really good job. He paid his dues and was solid. No complaints. Man, I don't know. I'm so tired. Total War will be back. It'll be back. Jahone, you did not tune in too late. You tuned in just for the finals. We're in the grand finals right now. So it's going to be a best of 5 between Zyphos, Shetland, Apache. And I'm going to be jumping into the lobby right now. You'll have to watch the first 2 rounds, yes. But it'll be up relatively soon, probably by like 2 or 3 hours from now, I would imagine. So you'll be able to watch those back. All the games this stream have been really good. I mean, they've been really good showcases of different builds and different factions. And we've seen some crazy stuff. You know, kind of the unfortunate thing about having like a mustache or like something ridiculous in these type of games. So let me go ahead and check this out. And 1 second here. So they might still just actually be in the same game here. Just got to set up the finals lobby. All right, so finals. Messaging the players real quick while we get things set up. We're almost good. Yeah, but what I was going to say is the unfortunate thing about having a mustache for these type of casts is that like, in the comments afterwards, that's going to be the only thing people like talk about instead of the actual game. Yeah, anyways. So on that note, let's go take a look at the tablet. So we're going to see who's going to claim the first spot here. An Empire helmet with a spear. Oh my god. All right, we're almost ready, guys. Players just getting on their marks, getting set. I could actually host the lobby in spectator mode as well, so we'll find out. It's pretty bad though. It's not the best mustache, that's for sure. Okay, so we're in a lobby here, and the maps we're gonna do are going to be. I think I forgot to send them the maps earlier, so we're gonna go here and. So maps. I know. Piotr, I agree with you 100%. I know you might be just trying to insult me right now, but I actually do agree with you. It's not a good look. Oh my god. Okay. And the last map will be... Let's see, what do we want to have it be here? I just gave him the maps. Mashy, thank you for the donation. Keep it up, legend. Always enjoy the stream. Thank you, man. So I'm going to repost the maps so the players can see them. And we're going to be jumping over to the lobby real quick here. So let's go ahead and go to the glorious OBS and have that hard transition. Flash Journey, Battle Scorecard, ECL, Blocker, go. I wish I had the vocal range to sing Take On Me. Pick away, start when ready. I'm like the Walmart version of Dr. Disrespect. He's got like that powerful, like awesome mustache, and I just have this like terrible patchy one. Major Moolah, let me go ahead and check. I'm the Walmart Dr. Disrespect. You guys can call me that, just the cheap knockoff one. All right, so thank you, Major Moolah, for the donation of the €4. I did get that. I really do appreciate it, man. I will buy Wookiee a nice treat in your honor. Thank you, man. Giants need to learn how to run. Yeah, it's kind of weird how Giants like always walk. Because I mean, I feel like they could like have a faster gait. Host. So you. Yeah, I'm having some allergies today, or else I would try and sing it for you guys so you could laugh. But perhaps another time. Yeah, I did check. I saw the PayPal donation. Thank you so much. I'll double check it. I see it, Major Moolah. I got you covered. Really do appreciate that. I love 80s music though. Like if I remember the early days of like streaming when streamers used to like just so Shetland Apache is gonna pick he's gonna pick Beastman and ban Vampire Coast, which is a pretty good choice. Vampire Coast gives it to Beastman pretty bad. And yeah, we're gonna see what Zyphos picks here. So I'm gonna go get some water, guys. So hang tight for just a second while the players pick their armies. Oh man, I'm back. So it looks like Zyphos is going to be picking. Yeah, they're working it out. So you went Beastman and banned Coast. Zyphos can pick anyone he wants from here. So basically, the host of the game is the first one who, does a pick and then a ban. We might actually switch it to double bans, like where the person who picks first can ban 2 factions. I think that would be pretty good. So, because typically, like, there's multiple counters to a faction. So, I don't know, a little bit tough to say. Oh yeah, these are going to be some good games, guys. You guys are here. I should have been a YouTuber in the 80s. Well, what I meant to kind of say is that when like a lot of these services first came out, like YouTube and Twitch, I mean, I guess there wasn't really monetization back like as much back then or at all on early days of YouTube. So, but like people used to just like, play whatever the hell they wanted and didn't have to worry so much about like copyright strikes and things like that. Mullet could be something. I'm not sure. A mullet could be something that I do in the future. It's just a mullet is a pretty big investment. It's like you look bad for a long time growing it too. So it's going to be Shetland Apache playing Beastman facing off against Zyphos, who shall be playing Skaven or Mammoths. Okay, they're switching back and forth. He's playing Torska. He's like, I lied. You guys remember that? Oh, that Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, what movie was that? Was that Collateral Damage or Commando? He's like, I lied, and then he drops him. Yeah, this is the final match, which is going to be a best of 5. Did I update the scoreboard? No, I did not. I'm a fool of a took. So it's going to be Shetland Apache, and he's going to be playing against Zyphos. Good catch, guys. Good catch. I do appreciate it. Yeah, double ban would be good. I'll talk to Shetland Apache and a couple of the guys after this, and maybe I'll get some opinions. Maybe do a poll, and we'll switch it to double bans probably. It's Commando. I knew it was Commando. God, that movie's so good. You know what one of my favorite scenes ever from like a haggard 80s action is? If you guys have ever watched the movie Missing in Action with Chuck Norris, there's a couple really good scenes. Like his boat gets like blown up, the one that he's like riding in, and this is like kind of he's in like Southeast Asia or somewhere, and he like just like appears from like under the water with like an M60. Oh my God, it's like such classic 80s. Or the part where they like try and torture him with a rat. So they tie Chuck Norris upside down and they put a bag over his head and then they put it like a ravenous rat inside of it with him. And like you think the rat's killing Chuck Norris because he's like making all these sounds. You're like, oh my God, Chuck Norris, no. And then what ends up happening is they take the bag off his head to see if the rat killed him. And then like the rat is just like in his mouth and Chuck Norris just looks all crazy. Oh my God, those were the days. Those were the days. Oh man. Start when ready. I like this Beastman build here. It's looking pretty good. You guys are going to like the way you look, I guarantee it. Skin Wolves are a good unit. Yeah, a little bit more niche. I mean, Famir are just a bit of a safer pick, but they do well. Hey, Gok, welcome, man. I've never been much of a statistics guy, no. Oh, here we go. Oh, man, I should have gotten better sleep. I'm sorry, guys. Hopefully my casting isn't bad today. Man, I've just been, went to bed at like 4 a.m. Woke up at like 10. Just all groggy and crappy. You know what? We're getting there. We're doing it. Oh, yeah. I know. It's pretty sad for the rat, too, in that movie. I'm sure we were just moments away. Yes. Beastman versus... There's a couple ways Beastman can play it. They can go fisticuffs and use like Minotaurs and just like bull rush them. Gorbals and try and fight them, like just go have a fist fight. Or they can even go with Bestigors and then have supporting throwing axes to kill the big armor. There's so many different ways they can play this. And as far as Norska goes, they can play skirmishing builds. They can play Famir Smash builds, Berserkers. I mean, there's so many different ways to play this. So it's a pretty fun matchup, actually. I think that Beastmen versus Norska, even though the games are super fast, are very, very fun to watch. So we're going to be jumping right into game one, which is going to be on... looks like they're on Eschen again, which is a mistake, but it's okay. Tommy Fears. Hot damn. So Tommy Fears... dropping the bomb right here. Love the tournament. Keep up the good work. And dropping $100. So Tommy, thank you so much for supporting the multiplayer community, the stream, all that good stuff. And man, that is very, very generous. I really do appreciate it, man. So it's going to be every Saturday, probably at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you guys will have that for the next 8 weeks to look forward to. If you're looking for your fix of Total War Warhammer, we will be here to guide you into your weekend. So thank you again, Tommy. Really do appreciate it. That is super generous of you. And I'll try and do you proud. Oh, they did change it. Okay. Well, this is a map that... it said Eschen for me for some reason, but Zuha Lake, I thought it was a different map, but this one will be okay. I mean, normally this map is actually pretty imbalanced for ranged factions, but in this case, it's not going to be an issue with these two factions. They could just like rush down the hill and fight. Yeah, Tommy, thank you, man. MVP for sure. I just bought Bluetooth headphones so I can hear Turin without getting shot by my neighbors. Mad respect to Tommy. Yes. Yeah, appreciate it, man. The steel dollars. Just like a dollar bill made of steel, just clubbing me over the head with it. All right, so back to business. So for the armies of the Beastmen, who are going to be helmed by Shetland Apache, he's got the Butchers of Kalkengard and 2 groups of standard Minotaurs. So just going to be going cheap with these guys, but they hit pretty hard for sure. The Butchers of Kalkengard are pretty much a staple. These guys regenerate, they hit hard, they're fast, they're shielded, they cause terror. Just such a good unit, especially against Norska. So 3 Minotaurs in total, 2 of them are going to be standard, and he's got a massive wall of bacon. So not going to be opting for infantry quality, rather he's going to be going for just expendable chaff, using the Baconators as a bit of a brick wall, and then he's going to be following up the Minotaurs, which is going to be very cool. Now, as far as the rest of the build goes, he does have the Cygor Summit. No, he actually is going to be going for DPS Malagor. So he has the Icon of Vilification, which gives 12 leadership to all nearby troops, going to help those chaff fight a little bit longer. He does also have Traderkin, as well as Devolve, and of course Arcane Conduit, which is pretty much standard. Now, the rest of Shetland's army is going to be Centaurs, so Centaurs here, and it looks like there's going to be some Vanguard shenanigans, perhaps, a little bit here on the far side, but for the most part, it's just going to be 3 Centaurs and a huge wall of meat, just beastie meat, just beef patty burgers, just good stuff. Let's do it. So for Xiphos, he's going to be going for some skirmishing. And Marauder Horsemen will be super good against unshielded Minotaurs. These guys are going to be able to shrek them pretty badly, so I love this pick from Xiphos. For his front line, it's going to be Marauders across the entire front line, so just cheapo Marauders, which will win that fight. He's got some Marauder Hunters with Javelins in the back. Mods of Savagery, so Armored Skin Wolves, which are super good against Minotaurs. I mean, Skin Wolves, anti-large, great combat stats, they regenerate. These guys are great against Minotaurs, so beautiful pick here. He's got Throg. He does also have a Firecaster with the Flaming Skull, as well as the Cascading Fire Cloak. So I'm really liking this build here from Xiphos. I feel like it has a lot of really good answers, but Shetland's build has the potential to just run him over. So, I mean, it's gonna be a real slobber knocker, as they say. Yes. The number sizes being disproportionate drives you insane. Yeah, that's really funny. I just noticed that. I'm sorry about that. Maybe I'll try and fix it next time. The nerf to summons actually very heavily affects Cygor summons, because normally a Cygor would just last forever because of how big their HP pool is. But in this case, they die after a hard cap. So it's a pretty big nerf. So summons certainly aren't as good as they used to be, which they were really overpowered before, in my opinion. I think summons kind of imbalanced the game a little bit. So I really do like the changes. I think that was CA really hit that one on the head. So it was good stuff. Yes. It is time. The Marauder Horsemen are going to be skirmishing down the hill. They're actually really good skirmishers against Centaurs, but they are shielded Centaurs, so they're going to be pretty good in their own right. And you can see here that Xiphos is going to be coming around the flank to attack the Minotaurs, which I think is going to be a really good choice. Minotaurs are a pretty juicy target right here. They're not shielded. They're lightly armored. These guys are like the perfect buttery target. So Shetland Apache is basically like, screw this shit. I'm going to be charging. I am not going to play this game. Although I would really like to see some of the Centaurs actually just used to chase these guys. They have shields. They're going to be taking that better than Minotaurs. And Shetland Apache actually does scoot over with the Ungor Spearmen. And he's going to be trying to screen these guys out, which is going to be good. And Xiphos is going to be repositioning over here on this part of the hill. But the Beastmen might be able to rush forward and actually catch some infantry for free. But very good skirmish damage here. He actually does kill a Minotaur, which is really good value for this early in the game. And the Centaurs are coming from all angles. So one here, and Shetland Apache is going to be collapsing. So Xiphos needs to run like up and through this army here. If he tries to run this way, he could get sandwiched pretty bad if he doesn't see them coming, which would be a huge disaster. In the meantime, the Baconators and the Gorbel and company are going to be advancing, and we're going to see if this Beast Herd can just run them over. Oh no, let's see this. Xiphos might get caught here. The acceleration from the charge here. Centaurs get a really good charge onto the back of the Marauder Horseman. That is a nice catch. He's probably going to be able to get away. He's probably clicking very aggressively, but the frontline fight is now underway. So it looks like there's going to be some witchcraft going down here. It's going to be Traderkin, which actually does some pretty good damage, and the Bacon is just going to be blocking up Minotaurs versus Werewolves. This is Warhammer. This shit is badass. So the Werewolves here are going to be fighting the Minotaurs. The fight is on, but it looks like the Mods of Savagery and company are being grinded down a little bit by the magic from Allegor. Throg is going to be committing to this fight, so both players are really just not wanting to yield this formation, but the Werewolves are starting to turn the tide. Pretty good in sustained combat with their healing. And you can see these Minotaurs here are, ooh, and a huge Burning Skull coming down. So the Burning Skull from the Norskins is going to be roasting a lot of these chaff units and really kind of leaving a lot of the Beastmen troops to their own devices here. So the Minotaurs and company are grinding through. The Marauder champions have now kind of engaged in the front line as well. Some Centaurs have gotten into the back, but Marauders were able to clean them up. And over here on this part of the battlefield, pretty much the same picture. Centaurs have engaged in the front line. But so far, I think the Norskins might be able to kind of stabilize this. I mean, yes, they're going to lose quite a bit, but I think their missile units, plus the fact that they've killed most of the Centaurs, is going to be a real, big game changer here. In the meantime, Shetland Apache has recalled that he has these Centaurs back here, so he's going to be pulling those guys around the back. But you can see here that Xiphos has pulled back his Werewolves, which is very, very good conservative play, because now they're going to heal up. He can use them later, and he's going to be netting some value. Whereas in sustained combat against Minotaurs and Gorbels, it's going to be bad. But look at this. Shetland Apache bull rushing through, getting into the back line. He's able to get onto the Hunters, but a countercharge from the Mods of Savagery from both angles is going to be a little bit tough. Throg is also doing a great job anchoring here, but the Gorbel is putting some hurt on Throg as well. He's taken about 20% of his HP in damage. In the back, there is the Firecaster from Xiphos who's going to be coming back up the hill. And Shetland Apache with his Beastman Death Star is holding on, but it looks like the Norskins are slightly pulling ahead in the bounce of power here. And there is going to be another, I believe, a Traderkin coming down right here, which is going to be hitting Throg. Now, if the Beastman can kill Throg here, and then get a full surround and finish off Throg or chase him off the battlefield, that would be pretty disastrous. And I think that would actually get the Beastmen back in the game, because the Werewolves healing is just kind of this huge value train. The Werewolves are going to be charging back in to the Minotaurs, and here they come. So the Skin Wolves getting a massive charge, having healed up a little bit, and as they heal, it's going to be very, very good for them. You can see Minotaurs being ping-ponged about, which is always pretty funny to see. And the Norskins are going to be piling back in. They have a lot of Marauders, they have a lot of supporting troops. Razorgore herds are going to be jumping back in as well. And this is good here. You can see that Shetland Apache does get some of these Centaurs around the back and gets them re-engaged, but hopefully it doesn't get them caught up amongst infantry again. And Xiphos just so on point with his micro. He actually pulls some armored Skin Wolves away from the frontline fight and has them attack the Centaurs on the flank. And they're going to be able to easily do some great work there. And now you can see, even though the Beastmen did come out really hard and really aggressive, they're starting to just get worn down here. They're just being grinded against the tides of Werewolves and Marauders, and I just don't think they're going to be able to win this. Malagor, the Dark Omen, he's not Morcrew. He's not going to be making a huge difference here. He's just going to be kind of, flying around with his peacock wings and holding his business. But I think Xiphos being able to kind of screen out the Centaurs and keep them off the Marauder Horsemen was what won him the game. These Marauder Horsemen really just couldn't generate, they were able to generate a ton of value against the Minotaurs. Now, had they been shut down, I think the Minotaurs and the Bacon would have been able to kill this entire Norskin front line. But the fact that they were just sitting and throwing with impunity for 80% of the game, 90% of the game was the biggest factor here. And you can see with that, Xiphos is going to be taking game one here, as the Marauders are able to clean up the last of the Bestial troops. You can see the Gorbel here is going to be going in the can, but I love Shetland's build. It was really cool using Traderkin and it evolved to kind of pound the front line. It did a ton of damage, and without these Marauder Horsemen, or if they were able to be compromised by the Centaurs, I really think that Shetland would have won that, but Xiphos did such a good job protecting his back line, pulling back the Skin Wolves as needed, using Marauders as screens, and from there, Xiphos is going to be taking game one in this best of 5. So great game here. That was pretty solid. So guys, we're going to be moving on to game 2 here in this finals. It is best of 5, so it's going to be a little bit different, and we're going to be jumping into the next one. And we'll make sure they change maps and everything. So let's get the blocker up. And Xiphos is going to go up 1-0. Very well played to both players. That was incredibly awesome. And here we go. The map really didn't have too much to do with it. Because Shetland Apache got the high ground and had a very even level engagement. It was what the real factor was for that victory was the fact that the Centaurs couldn't kill the throwing axes, or the Marauder Horsemen. They were able to just pick on those unshielded Minotaurs all day. Yeah. Shetland got a shitty deal with that. Yeah, the hill was a little bit tricky for sure. But had he brought any raiders or a single Cygor summon, the Norskins would have had to come down. So let's go ahead and switch it. Shetland actually says that's the first time the blob has failed. Tower of Hoeth is the next map. Yeah, the Minotaur's armor is really tough. The werewolves were able to do really good. They took a pounding and lost the battle initially, but then they fell back and healed and re-engaged later. God, that was Xiphos was so good with that. A lot of people usually just leave them in sustained combat and they don't really get their value there, but man, that healing's so good. Like before they lost a lot of models, he pulled them back. It was beautiful. It was really, really good. So Tower of Hoeth. So now it's time for Xiphos to pick. So Xiphos does get to pick his faction, and now Shetland Apache gets to counterpick. But again, Xiphos does get a ban to kind of protect. So most factions have one or two really bad matchups. So usually people are going to ban the one that they're worst against, which is quite nice. Bradley, thank you, man. I appreciate it. What will we have? Xiphos is picking Skaven. So now Shetland Apache, the world is his oyster. He can pick pretty much whatever he wants against the Skaven. And Skaven do have some bad matchups. Even though they're very, very strong, I think that they do have a couple bad matchups. So Xiphos says, we took the filthy elf tower. Yes, yes. I love it. Xiphos getting in character here. And there is a little bit of an advantage for high ground, but it didn't end up mattering because Xiphos actually let him get up the hill. And then they had a cross engagement on the top of the hill. So it didn't matter too much. So Xiphos bans Bretonia. One ban for now. And then Shetland Apache picks Tomb Kings. So it's going to be Tomb Kings versus Skaven. That's a hard one for the Skaven, I think. Tomb Kings have some really good tools. But, I mean, Skaven have great tools now, too. So the stream is going to be starting typically at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's California time if any of you guys want to do conversions. It's going to be the next Saturdays. Yeah, it's going to be trying to do it every week. God, don't make me cast a Rune Lord versus Rune Lord game. That would be terrible. That would be terrible. So it's going to be Xiphos on Skaven against Tomb Kings. Now, Tomb Kings have some of the best tools in the game for shutting down ranged units. Nakar Horsemen and Skeleton Horsemen are so cost-effective against Skaven. And Carrion, I mean, it's tricky, though, because Skaven can now go with, like, Flayer Death Stars, too, which can really catch people off guard. So, I mean, there's so many directions the players can go. There's so many directions. Hey, we had a really good Dwarf game earlier. That was an incredibly solid game. Incredibly solid game for sure. So 8 weeks of competition. It is time for the Eternal Challenger League to return. Lady Turin has done all these lovely graphics. Each player who does win, for anyone who's just joining, is going to earn a spot on the tablet of Lizard Moses. The top 8 competitors will be qualifying for the grand final. So every week between the Eternal Challenger League, I will update this so you guys will be able to see who qualified. And it should be quite a bit of fun. Luis says, watched one of Turn's vids yesterday and thought maybe I'll hop on ladder and play a match for the first time in a few months. Matched up, won a game, cool. One more, matched up, it's Turn, rest in peace. GG, man, yeah. GG yesterday. All right, so Flash Tourney. Yeah, and you can see the specs for my PC on the About section of my YouTube channel. You should be able to see everything. I could start a little bit earlier. I mean, I could do a poll for you guys to see like what would be the best start time. Maybe I'll do that in the community section. I prefer to start around this time so I have a little bit of time to get up, even though I tend to sleep in. Yeah, she's very talented, for sure. Who wants baked squig? Ugh. It's gnarly. I don't think that would be very tasty. All right. Yeah, I think like squigs are like, they're like a fungus, right? Aren't they like grown like a mushroom? Yeah, who knows? Xiphos is picking Skaven here. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing some unorthodox stuff, some of the new DLC units. I think it's a little bit risky to go mass guns against the Tomb Kings. I feel like they're just going to be able to overwhelm you, but then Tomb Kings can mind game you right back. If they bring like a bunch of constructs, you're just going to get destroyed. So it's going to be interesting to see how both players kind of respect both aspects of this matchup. Quite eager for this. Yeah, I know the tablet's really good, right? Yeah, I usually play about 3 to 5 or 6 games a day. Lately, I've been playing on ladder quite a bit more. Usually, I used to just kind of grab tournament players and play, but I've been trying to mix it up and play some ladder games so I get a chance to play some of you guys. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, orcs are a fungus. Yeah. Shetland is using Tomb Kings again. He had some pretty good success against King of the Dead earlier. He did very, very well with them. So yeah, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so California time or Pacific time is when we're going to be starting these. I'll probably try and do it every Saturday unless there's some sort of something else I have going on in my life, at which point I will move it to Sundays. So it's going to be Saturday for now, though. Maybe we'll do a stream tomorrow, like a Warcraft 3 stream or something. I think that could be pretty fun. Just play a couple 1v1s on there, see how it goes. Shetland Apache's ready. It looks like Zyphos is making the final touches on his army, and it looks pretty good to me. I do like it. It's quite well-rounded. Has answers for everything. I would like to share it with you guys, but, you know, time is of the essence. I don't want to spoil anything. No spoilers. We have another Game of Thrones episode coming this weekend, which is going to be nice. Oh, man. I'm going to take a fat nap after this, guys. I'm just going to just lay in it. Actually, I probably have to deal with Wookiee. The Cursed Beast. Gothic Armada. I haven't played Armada in quite some time, actually. I've been wanting to get more into Warcraft 3. That was like one of my first games. I actually recorded a Warcraft 3 battle last night. That was really good. So that'll be going up on the channel in the next few days. Yeah, Wicked. Game 1 was really good. It was a solid game. It was a really, really fun, fast, explosive game. Zyphos making some last-minute switches. I like what he's working with here. He just picked a pretty cool unit. You don't see it terribly often, so it'll be fun to see that guy in action. Yeah, Misha. I might do a Warcraft 3 stream tomorrow. Do some 1v1s. I could probably only do like 3 or 4 games before my hand starts to hurt, but I think that would be okay. Wicked D says, I shaved my crappy beard into even crappier handlebars as required by passing 300 likes. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying the Eternal Challenger League, you want to see more of it, you want to see more competitive leagues, please drop a like. It lets me know that you guys enjoy it more than other content, because that's really the metric by which I evaluate which content to prioritize, right? So if something has more likes, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this more often, like, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So again, drop that hot fire, drop bows on it. I know a lot of people actually say they fall asleep to my stuff, which is interesting, but I do the same thing. Like I watch one of my favorite channels to watch, actually, outside of the Total War community, is the a channel called Back to Warcraft. It's a channel predominantly on Twitch, but they upgrade all of their replays on YouTube, and it's a Warcraft 3 competitive channel. So they just cast like pro games from Warcraft 3 League in like China and Asia and Europe and stuff, and it's really good. The casters are great. I like fall asleep to that shit all the time. Yeah. So that's life. It's good times. Tower of Hoth has the potential for some forest camping, which is why I often don't put it in my battles, because I don't like people to just sit in forest and abuse the missile rules. But I think with this matchup and, you know, these fine gentlemen here, it should be fine. Yes. Misha, if you could talk him into it, I'm 100% down. I don't think you would want that, though. It sounds stressful. My front line for the Empire depends on the matchup. There's some matchups in which I actually use Greatswords and Warrior Priests, but there's other matchups in which I use Spearmen and things like that. So a lot of different variables there. Now, screen blocker is off. We're good to go. And here we are with Zyphos facing off against Shetland Apache. Currently, Zyphos is up 1-0 here in the series. And for the leadership of Zyphos, he's going to be going with everyone's favorite Plague Rat. Didn't want to feel neglected. You know, of course, AK Claw stealing all of his thunder, but he's still very competitive. So Blessed with Filth, as well as the Vermintide and Liber Bubonicus. So no Rod of Corruption, which is really good against Tomb King. So I'm surprised he cut that. Aside from that, he's got a bunch of Clan Rats and Slaves, pretty much standard protocol. He's got Rat Ogres, he's got a Helpet Abomination, and also does have the Natty Bubo Sharpshooters, which I like this a lot. So he went with a massive durable army that would be very good against constructs, but he did bring one unit to force the Tomb Kings in, and also to counterplay with Shoppy Greatbows and constructs. So this is really, really good. He's got Rat Ogres. He does also have the Blight Scabs Plague Pack. So these guys do give immune to psychology to all nearby troops, which is going to be pretty good for, like, you know, Death Star fights and terror routes and things like that. So these guys are pretty good against Tomb Kings as well for that purpose. And yeah, that's pretty much his whole army. I think he had some Doom players. I could have sworn I saw some when he was picking his army, but it looks like he cut them. So yeah, he's going to be just kind of playing a tight defensive formation here, forcing the Tomb Kings in, and we're going to see how it goes. So for the Tomb Kings, we're going to see carrying everywhere. So it looks like Shetland Apache very much expecting a very, very heavy missile build, right? Which you have to respect. He's got Skeleton Horseman Archers in the back, which are going to be great, just outstanding against Rat Ogres and Hellpits. And he's got 4 of those. So this is probably the best pick I've seen from Shetland Apache's army so far. That is really good. He's got a couple Tomb Guard in the front line, it looks like. Skeleton Warriors. No, they're just Skeleton Warriors. Carrying everywhere. 2 groups of Nekar Horsemen over here. Chariots over here. And over here in the forest, Shetland does have Setra the Imperishable, as well as 2 groups of Nehekar horsemen. So just a massive amount of pressure. It's going to be very micro-intensive for Shetland, but I think his army is very well suited to deal with this this army here. So it's going to be quite a bit of fun. Very excited to see this game. Good luck, good luck. Yeah. So this is the finals of today's qualifier. The winner will be going on to the grand finals of the Eternal Challenger League, which will be week 9. This is the first week, so we have a lot more competition. Going to be 8 weeks of just streaming and tournament play, all kinds of good stuff. So this is I've only just begun, in the words of Malekith. So we got some Storm Vermin here in the back as well. Didn't notice those guys at first. He's going to have a pretty scary little Death Star for sure. Given that, Munipsych is quite useful, especially against Setra, who does cause terror. And yeah. Who do you guys want to win? I should start running polls during this to, like, you know, get some hype going for the different players. You guys could have your favorites. We gotta have favorites and villains. Like, who are the villains? Get an award. He's making sure Xiphos is good to go. Xiphos looks pretty set up. He's going to be taking advantage of some slight terrain here, but it's not really going to help him too much. I mean, if you really wanted to abuse like that, he could have hidden the trees, but I like that he's kind of hanging in an open field. I mean, he does have guns himself, so yeah, fighting in the trees would be pretty helpful for this Skaven. Kill Elflings hiding in pretty tower after. Yes, yes. Yes, the High Elves are watching from their tower like, what the hell is going on out here? Like the rats and desert Tomb Kings. There are a couple skeleton warriors for the Tomb Kings, it looks like. Not much in the way of infantry. It's mostly going to be Nehekar horsemen, skeleton horsemen archers. Setra, of course, is his favorite, so it looks like he always picks Setra. But Setra hasn't done him wrong so far. Narrow's Incantation plus the Cursed Blades is going to be really good for cycling that passive. And it looks like both players are just about ready. In the back, Shetland Apache making some last-minute changes. Going to be setting up some horsemen back here in anticipation of artillery or other things like that, which is going to be pretty good. And yeah, polls will be fun, for sure. The Spark says, I like real rats, just not the Warhammer ones. They're hideous. I mean, Skaven aren't the prettiest of folk, and they're pretty freaky looking. They're actually pretty terrifying, like in a lot of the art, more so. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this helmet. I love that Creative Assembly actually added like a glow to these guys. They have that like green warp glow all over them. It looks so damn cool. I love it. Yeah, it looks really badass. And yeah, looks like one of the players might have gone to take a bio break. Lotus Moon is chaotic good. Is that what you said? Oh man, that's funny. Man, but this Skeleton Archers Goon Squad is going to be so good. They're going to be able to just pick on the Skaven army so hard. Like really just shooting at the Plague Pack or just picking off the Jezzails even if they can get close enough. That is really, really good here. I like that quite a bit. And it looks like both players are ready. He says, good luck, have fun. Xiphos is chaotic level. Who would be lawful good? As far as the multiplayer community goes, that'd be pretty funny. All right, guys, so the battle's underway. You can see here that the Natty Bubo sharpshooters are going to be opening up, showing their cards against these Carrion here, but the Carrion are more than happy to take those shots. I mean, it's not going to really kill them that quickly. And it looks like Nehekar horsemen, skeleton horsemen, archers just descending from the forest, going to be unleashing their volleys. They should probably be taking off fire at will and make sure they shoot at the appropriate targets. I would probably shoot at the Plague Pack or Rat Ogres right out of the gates. And you can see here that Xiphos is going to be pulling back, and he's going to be turning the sharpshooters downtown to shoot at the skeleton horsemen archers. In the meantime, Shetland probably going to be going after, yeah, the Plague Pack, taking a couple shots there, but he could start shooting at the Hell Pit. Getting it closer to its healing cap is certainly going to be helpful. Now, the rest of the Tomb King's army is going to be advancing. Skeleton Warriors going to be moving in. The Horsemen are going to be moving in. It's basically just going to be like a huge collapse. And yeah, he's just shooting in downtown, trying to get on the Plague Pack. But Xiphos doing a really good job just basically screening with just trash units. Oh man, the Hell Pit's going to be taking a fat volley right here. So the Hell Pit takes a volley, but it looks like most of the Skeleton Archers, not the most accurate folk. They're actually taking a lot of damage from the Jezzails here, which is quite impressive here. Very, very good work from those guys. I don't think it's worth sending in a Carrion quite yet to shut down the sharpshooters. I would probably wait a little bit of, yeah, give it a little bit of time. But, you know, getting some Nehekar horsemen to kind of pressure and maybe try and pick off some slaves and chase them away from the main army wouldn't be a bad idea. But yeah, even still, Xiphos is playing a very high and tight game, just helms deeping it. Skeleton horseman archers really getting taken apart by those guys. But yeah, they need to get involved right now. And Setra is going to be coming out of the forest here. You can also see that the Nehekar horsemen are going to be waiting in the shadows, getting ready to party. Yeah, the fight's almost here. Plague Pack going to be sitting next to the sharpshooters, protecting those guys. Carrion just sitting over the heads of their prey, waiting for the rest of the Tomb Kings to arrive. We're going to see if you know, these things get going here. So Skeleton Warriors advancing. The Natty Bubo sharpshooters, just a one-man army here, just going to be holding off the Tomb Kings. Skeleton Chariots getting shot at. But he's going to be pulling those guys back in. Setra actually gets really close before taking a lot of damage. And the Skeleton Horsemen do engage right here against some of the Skaven Slaves, trying to get a little bit of burst damage on those guys. But the Chariots should probably just commit. And you can see here the Carrion do land on top of the sharpshooters, getting a little bit of damage, but for the most part, Stormvermin will be able to clean that up very quickly. Shetland has left a lot of his horsemen back here. I think he needs to get all of his army here. Like, he can't afford to, like, leave anything behind. I mean, unless he's really planning on just having this, like, very delayed kind of grindy game here. So the archers are shooting in against the rat ogres, getting some value. The Jezzails are pretty much in perfect shape. They didn't lose a single model against those Carrions, so very, very good stuff here from Xiphos protecting. And you can see here that Shetland Imperishable just going to be shrekking some of these slaves, just going for those freebies right there. Jezzails are going to be shooting, and now the Tomb Kings have signaled the advance, and you can see everything's going to be moving in. Skeleton Horsemen getting some good value against rat ogres in the back, just kind of popping those guys. Some Skeleton Horsemen are going to be making their way into the back line, trying to jump on some of the slaves. And these two group of Skeleton Horsemen probably going to be coming up and under and trying to get into the cookie jar. Nero's Incantation of Protection has been popped on Shetland the Imperishable. Jezzails do magic damage, I think. No, they don't actually do physical, so maybe the Rattling Gunners too, I'm not sure, but you would think that Warp would be magical. But anyways, so the Skeleton Horseman Archers shooting in against rat ogres. They haven't killed any models yet, but they are getting some decent value. Chariots are going to be sweeping into the clan rats. And if he could break anything, I mean, Shetland's going to be able to chase pretty much everything off. And you can see here that Stetra is pretty much running rampant at this point. Just going to be shrekking the slaves wherever he can, just trying to break those guys, which is going to open up the back line. Now, the Plague Pack's in pretty good shape as well. Relatively healthy. Not relatively. Very, very healthy. At full health, they've only lost one model. And the Chariots are kind of being beaten down by the Hellpit Abomination, some of these other troops. Skrulk Daddy's also helping. So the backline pressure from the Tomb Kings really needs to come in right now. The Plague Pack is going to be turning about face to face Setra, and it's not going to be great for them if they do take that fight. But nonetheless, the backline is being held, and I feel like the Skaven are in pretty good shape. I think the Tomb Kings are not able to get too much value. Granted, this is good. Shetland is going to finally start to get some really good shots here onto the Plague Pack and get some good damage. You know what kind of army would have been really good against the Skaven force? It was like 4 or 5 skeleton archers with just a ton of infantry. I'm pretty sure they would have just ran them over. But Setra the Imperishable in the back, going to be fighting against the Hellpit Abomination. The Hellpit is going to be pimp slapping him pretty good. Nero's Incantation of Protection going down, which is going to be quite helpful. But rat ogres have also pinned him, so really not a good situation. Horsemen are coming in and all these other troops, but everywhere I look, I feel like the Skaven are able to intercept them. And the Natty Bubo sharpshooters are a little bit beat up, but they've done a good job staying online as well. Skeleton Chariots still not able to break the Stormvermin. Stormvermin are holding quite proud here. Some of the Carrion are going to be chasing off clan rats, and there still are a lot of troops in reserve here. You can see Setra does get slapped up a little bit there. He definitely needs to run. And yeah, the Plague Pack is just buzzsawing through these Skeleton Horsemen. That's some pretty brutal stuff. And it seems like a lot of the troops, the Skeleton Horsemen and Nakar Horsemen, are staying in sustained combat. So instead of pulling back and cycle charging here, they're staying in and just kind of fighting to the bitter end, which I don't know is suiting them terribly well. Now, the Bounce Fire does go in the favor of the Skaven here for the first time in the game. Skeleton Horseman Archers still shooting downtown. Really not getting too much value, though. It seems like they're shooting just random targets. 100% should be switched onto the Hellpit Abomination, but it looks like it might just be fire at will. And I think Shetland is doing good targeting with this. He's shooting at Hellpits and Plague Pack and stuff, but it seems like Xiphos is kind of able to just kind of maneuver back and forth. And the Skaven Death Star is just kind of cleaning up, for sure. I mean, very, very good stuff here. Hellpit Abomination, Stormvermin are going to be surging forward here. Man, I actually didn't notice there was double Hellpit Abomination. That is pretty nasty. So, I mean, he had answers, but yeah, Skeleton Horsemen and like infantry heavy army with like Skeleton Spears, I think would have been able to beat this force pretty easily. But of course, the build that Shetland brought was very much designed to counter a mass gun build. So it would have just destroyed a Skaven gun build. Here you can see the Hellpit Abomination getting blessed with filth, so there's going to be mass poison going down here. Lord Skrulk is filthy, he's happy, he's in good shape. But you can never count it out, never say it's over until the fat Setra sings. Setra's in pretty good shape here. Going to be charging forth with some of his skeletons, trying to fight here, but ooh, that's brutal. Libra Bubonicus is going to be getting dropped on Setra, going to be doing a ton of work, and from there you can see that the Hellpit Abomination is going to be able to make pretty short work of him there. So it looks like game 2 is going to be going to Xiphos as well. I don't think the Tomb Kings are going to be able to come back at this point. I think double Hellpits are just too strong, and everything that the Tomb Kings have left is weak against Hellpit Abominations and Rat Ogres, and the Plague Pack's still in really good shape. Shetland is going to be dropping the Ushopti Summon here to try and fight his way back into the game, but you can see that the Blightscat Plague Pack is 82 models, and they are kind of keeping these things from being terror routed. So the rat ogres are immune to psychology here. Everything nearby is immune to psych. Therefore, Setra isn't going to be able to butter the bread that he wants to butter. And Lord Skrulk is in good shape as well. Just fighting in here, just cackling. Rod of Corruption would have been really good as well. I think that's a must-bring item. It is just so damn good. And yes, the rats are quite filthy. The rats are quite filthy indeed, but with that, it looks like Xiphos is going to be taking game 2 against Shetland Apache here. And we're going to be going on to game 3. So if Xiphos does win the next game, he's going to be sweeping the series. Which Xiphos had a really hotly contested series against Hadrius in the first round, but yeah, he's formed up now. He's on a roll here, and it looks like he's going to be clubbing the last of these units. I really like Shetland's build quite a bit. I thought it was very, very good, but I think Xiphos was expecting that everybody's going to over kind of account for the guns, and then from there you just kind of counter what would counter the guns. It's very good mind games here, and he brought a very, very good build. So Light Scab's Plague Pack going to be beating down the carrying of these other troops. Skrulkin Company just grinding it out in the middle. Such as the Imperishable. Trying not to perish, but he's certainly going to be perishing here against the Helpet Abomination. And it's only a matter of time before this battle's over. Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah, the Helpets were so good. I mean, Skeleton Horsemen Archers are pretty good against him, but, I mean, it's not enough. You need a little bit more focus fire. I mean, Ushapti Grapos would have destroyed that army, any number of things, but Ushapti Grapos get countered by Giselle, so it's a little bit hard to pick into that, right? It's a little bit hard. Woo. Oh, man. What a game. Well played to Zyphos there. Showing some pretty good Skaven builds for you guys. If anybody's looking for tactics on how to play Skaven, you've seen some really good performances from him here today. So that's going to be 2-0. It is best of 5 here in the finals. We're going to be moving on to the last set of picks, potentially, if Zyphos is able to win the next game. We're on Troll Country, a very small map, very blitzy. GG. Game 3. So if Zyphos wins this, that's going to be all she wrote. Yes. Yeah, Shetland Apache is definitely lawful good. Yeah. Yeah, Adjusal is very good at this. You think Shetland is definitely chaotic? Says Pippington. Well, Pippington knows him pretty well, so. Chaotic good, you're saying, for Shetland? Who knows? Shetland is lawful, chaotic, good, evil. What? All right, so Shetland Apache is going to be picking Sartosa and banning the Dark Elves. And Zyphos, of course, a very good Dark Elf player. We're going to be seeing what he picks here. So Shetland Apache with very good picking, very intelligent picking here in the late game, knowing that Zyphos is probably going to want to close it out with one of his stronger races. He bans that race, which also happens to be pretty good against Vampire Coast, which I think is very, very good stuff. I'm going to go get some water. Voice is getting a little bit dry, guys. And we're back. And now we have the Sons of Sigmar coming in. We have the Empire facing off against Sartosa. So we're going to see if these brave Imperial soldiers can take on the fury of the pirates. You guys want to see the ridiculous 80s here? Hang on a sec. I was just like rubbing my face with water in here. You guys like that look? Is that the look? The vanilla ice look? All right, here we go. Back to the scorecard. Yeah. It's going to be good. Pirates for state troops. I mean, who doesn't like that? Aerocrastic is lawful good. I can see that. Job plays is what did you say you were, Job? I missed that one. Somebody mentioned that above. Italian Spartacus is true, chaotic, neutral. I can see that. Man, you guys are pretty good at this. You guys are quite good at this for sure. Man, Sartosa Pirates. I wonder if he's going to actually bring the pirate infantry to fight the state troops. That would actually be really fun. I hope it's just like 10 of them, you know? Just going in there. Volkmar the Grim. Oh, the mustache. I shaved the beard. I had a beard as of last night, but I shaved it because I was planning on shaving it all. But I was like, you know what? Just for these guys on stream, let's come in with a powerful, well, not powerful, a funny mustache. And make you guys laugh. Zav said lawful evil. Lawful evil. You're a good guy though, Jav. You know? The mustache is terrible. Yeah, Air of Carthage would probably be lawful good. Yeah. You know what? You guys want to make a Reddit post about that? I think that'd be pretty fun if we all made a Reddit post and just like on the Total War Reddit, like what are the D&D alignments of all the different folks in the community? The Tlaxon Soothsayer is just neutral. Oh, don't say that! Don't say that, Pippington! Stop it! No, bad. Gobbo King's chaotic evil. I wish it was full on Burt Reynolds. It's not that thick. The problem is if you're like an individual who has mostly blondish hair and you don't grow facial hair as good. It doesn't look as thick. Like people with brown or black hair, they tend to grow much better like facial hair. It looks better. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and update this. 1 second here. All right, guys, and we're back. The pooches were causing problems here. Professor Pone, do it. If you don't, I'll do it. Yeah, Felcon's playstyle is definitely chaotic evil. Who is the dark side of the Force? I know. If you're the king of goblins, you have to be chaotic evil. Goblins are chaotic and they are evil. Goblins are like scheming evil. Like you have to be. I feel you have to. All right, guys. Oh my God, the build of the gods. The build of the gods. From Shetland Apache, coming in with Sartosa. He's got 2 Rotting Leviathans. He does also have the Lamprey's Revenge. Over here, he has Araness Assault Spite. Anti-large, armor piercing, and actually a very good niche pick against the Empire. That Spearfisher's Net is very good at holding down cav units and other things like that, so I think it's an incredibly good pick. So a crab rush build with the Lore of the Deep, Shetland Apache trying to win the hearts of the people, and he has Vangeist's Revenge, so he's going to be dropping some hot, heavy pirate ships on top of these guys. Man, this is a crazy build. On top of that, it looks like he does also have 5 groups of Sartosa Free Company Militia, or Sartosa Free Company. So he's got the Pirate Infantry with the bonus versus infantry, which will be very good against state troops. So literally a crab rush build with the Lore of the Deeps, and it looks like a bloated corpse against Xiphos. You know, if Shetland Apache is going to be going quietly into the good night, he's going to be going out with the bang. So he does have the bloated corpse here. And for Xiphos, not as much of a meme build. Very, very serious here. You can see a bunch of swordsmen. He's got some flagellants here in the secondary line, a bunch of guns. So he does have these silver bullets. He's got the Cyril's Revenge. He does also have handgunners. Crossbows up in the sky. He's got Toddy. Toddy's going to be a bit of a fight for Aranessa. It's going to be a cockfight. We do have Flaming Sword and Burning Skull to kill the infantry. And in the back line is a bunch of spearmen. So no cap units. I was actually expecting a couple Empire Knights perhaps to just ride through the infantry and pressure the back line potentially. But Shetland Apache's build could actually be really scary. Could be really, really scary. All right, so we have another donation before this game starts. So big thanks to Michael Hobson. Fairly long-time viewer, but this is the first time I've caught a stream. Hope to follow the whole tourney if you're covering it all. I will. Yeah, it's I will be doing every single one. So I started this with season 1, so I'll be doing it to it, and hopefully Italian Spartacus will join me to cast the finals yet again. I will keep it up, man. Thank you again for your support. And on that note, let's get this show on the road. So Shetland Apache are going to be rushing in with the crabs in the front, but look in the back. The Free Company are just going to be pressuring the back line. So they're going to be engaging the spearmen. Toddy is going to be rushing back there, which is good. He could probably terror out them off the battlefield very quickly, but is it going to be enough? The pirates are coming from all angles. Scurvy Dog's coming in. The crabs are going to be surging in. Now, there are a lot of handgunners. Handgunners are going to be able to tear these guys up. Shows Shetland Apache, a true patriot of Sartosa. These guys are going to be just like getting mowed down. So these Sartosan Free Company are just being gunned down. Just brutal, brutal stuff here. Toddy's going to be pushing them, and they might actually get pushed off the battlefield. That's the only risk with vanguarding back here, is that can potentially happen. Now, in the rest of the army, the crabs are going to be coming forth. Sartosa Free Company are going to be engaging the swordsmen up here, and it looks like we have a fight between Flagellants and Free Company, the Sartosa Free Company, which are very, very different. And the crabs are coming in. So the Krabby Patties, honestly, what the crabs need to do is just get on top of the AP guns. Like, you just need to put the crabs on the guns, shut them down, and the Vampire Fleet Captain needs to drop some Vangeist's Revenge. So up on the high ground, it looks like there's going to be a Flaming Sword going down. This first Rotting Leviathan has taken an absolute beating, so it's not going too well. I don't know how well this build is going to work out, but you know what? He's making a statement here, and it looks like the crabs are just getting melted. The Bloated Corpse is coming in. There goes my hero. And he's going to be jumping into the blob. Get in there, Bloated Corpse. Oh, Vangeist Revenge coming in. Oh, come on, get in there. And it does blast those state troops and those flagellants. I mean, the center pocket gets broken up. Oh, and Toddy. Toddy's coming in here and getting whooped on. The Spearfisher's net locks him in place. He's taking a lot of damage, and if they can actually kill Toddy, maybe they'll have a chance. But other than that, it's looking pretty horrible. The state troops have actually beaten down the Free Company pretty much everywhere. And Toddy's dead, though. Like, Toddy died. Oh, my God. Toddy got destroyed by those crabs and by Aranessa here, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. Toddy actually shatters. So now the Empire is leaderless, and there's no summons here. It's literally just that one ability, the Vangeist Revenge. So can this crab push through? I don't think so. But, you know, at the very least, Toddy did get beaten down pretty bad. But man, it is a messy game for sure. The Free Company on the high ground are fighting, able to do some good damage against these guys. Over here we have the Sartosa Militia, who are the basically Free Company Militia variant, fighting these guys. But I just don't think the crabs are going to be able to survive the torrent of fire. I mean, Boris Todbringer got whooped on. Yeah. There goes my hero. And you can see Aaron's Assault Spike going to be fighting here. But, you know, as Shetland came in with a pretty balls deep build, it was a gamble, but it didn't pay off. You know, you got to give him props, though, for trying something so ridiculous. And had it worked, he would have been a legend. He would have been a legend, but alas. Xiphos is like one of the best players in the Total War Warhammer community, and trying to pull off a build like that against him, he's going to react very quickly to everything you do. And Shetland's extremely good as well, but like, man, Vangeist Revenge, I can't believe he brought Vangeist Revenge here. You know, like, that's so, like, over the top. So, up in the high ground, he still has some scurvy dogs. They're still feasting. He was able to win a couple fights up here. And it looks like he's going to get some pressure into the guns. I think he needed some more pressure onto the missiles. The missiles just tore him apart. Aranessa's running around with her peg leg, and she actually did some really good work. I mean, she beat down Toddy really, really bad. And it looks like a Flaming Sword is going to be imbued onto the back missile units. These guys are going to be doing magic damage and fire damage now, and extra damage. And Aranessa's Assault Spike probably going to be going down here, but you know what? Shetland Apache going out like a true hero. You know, bringing the crabs and the bloated corpses. I actually didn't see what happened to the bloated corpse, but that's going to be it. Aranessa's going to be shattering. And that's going to be a 3-0 finals, guys. So the first individual to qualify for the Eternal Challenger League Season 2 Grand Finals is going to be Xiphos. So Xiphos has earned a spot on the tablet of Tehedwin. So if we go ahead and take a look here, before next week, we will be adding Xiphos to the first spot here. And you guys will see him back. And with that, Xiphos is going to be the grand winner for today. Man, that was a real fun event. A lot of really good games today. True legend. So Shetland says, seems like I need to make up some new tricks. Dude, that game was great. Shetland's like, you know all my tricks, Xiphos. GG, guys. Thank you both so much. It is. It's still the best build. You guys rock. All right, guys. So with that, we're wrapped up for the day. That's it. We got Xiphos coming in with the hard 3-0 and winning. Sorry, that's too ridiculous. I can't even look at it because I can see my own projection here. Xiphos coming in with a pretty solid win. 3-0 there. He had a 2-1 against Hadri's. Hadri's had some really good games, but from there, Xiphos actually didn't drop another game. So he won. He lost the first one against Hadri's. He won the next two, and then he won all three in the finals against Shetland. Shetland was able to take out King of the Dead. So the way it works is individuals can't play in qualifiers multiple times unless there's like an extreme circumstance, like somebody drops and I need a backup replacement instantly. So with that, Xiphos is going to be going on to the grand finals. So big congratulations to everyone. I just want to say thanks to everyone who played today. We had Shetland, of course, here in the grand finals. Shetland's a huge member of the community. He streams on Twitch. He works on the rules. He hosts tournaments. He's like one of the main anchors of the multiplayer community. So big thanks to him. Xiphos, an absolute beast. He's going to be the first qualifier for the Eternal Challenger League grand finals. And also a special thanks to Hadri's and King of the Dead for their games earlier. I mean, all the games are really good, really entertaining. So, yeah. So that we're here, guys. I'll be back next weekend, Saturday, probably at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with the second edition of the Eternal Challenger League, where we'll find out who our second competitor is. And it's going to be 8 weeks. It's going to be an ongoing league, so it gives you guys something to follow. You can get behind someone in the finals. We're going to have our villains. We're going to have our heroes. It's going to be a blast. So, guys, on that note, I just want to say thank you for joining. I really do appreciate it. A really big thanks. We had some super generous donations today, so clearly you guys enjoyed this stuff. So Michael Hobson with the 20, Tommy Fears with the rock hard 100, Mashy with the 5, Tough with the 299, Jason Denny with the 99.99. Beautiful stuff. I love it. Aster 117 with the 2, Linson with 5, and King Ajazal with the first stream of the donation. Always around, always hanging out, man. Appreciate having you here with another 2. And of course on the PayPal, we had, let me make sure I'm not missing this, Auntie, thank you for the donation. Hopefully I said your name right. I really do appreciate it. And with that, we will be seeing you guys next week. So thanks again for watching, guys, and hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure I'm not missing any questions before I sign off. No, we're back. The stash will probably just be the first week special. I think it'll just be for today. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.